Browns fan.
Join the Dog Pound on the road this season with True Fan Travel, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns. Travel to stadiums across the country with other Browns fans and experience the games like never before. This trip includes everything: a private charter flight, hotel, an all-inclusive tailgate, game tickets, boat party, transportation, and more. Cheer on the Browns in New Orleans and party with Cleveland Browns legend Kevin Mack. Visit truefantravel.com today and reserve your ultimate Browns travel package.
Time for the Burning River Sportscast. This first segment is not kid-friendly. I recommend earmuffs or fast-forwarding as needed. There's a scene in The Hangover where all hope is lost and the characters find themselves living in this new, nonsensical sort of fiction that they can't believe is real life, to which Stu exclaims, "What the fuck is going on?" That's where I'm at. What the fuck is going on? This team was in the playoffs a year ago. Most of your roster was retained, and we're finally getting a chance to see what our $230 million quarterback can do. National pundits had the AFC Championship as a realistic goal for this roster, and we're 1-5. What the fuck is going on, Kevin? We were told this Ken Dorsey offense was going to be a spectacle. It would be powerful and tailored specifically to Deshaun to put him in the best situation possible. So far, that's led to him nearly leading the league in attempts while being last in the league in yards, with touchdowns nowhere to be found. What the fuck is going on, Andrew? We were told there's no need for Joe Flacco on this roster. Never mind that he's won more games as a backup this year in limited action than the Browns. We were told we had to go out and get a QB whose talent was so transcendent, it would make up for 3 years of lost talent acquired via the draft. All of a sudden, we're thin at O-line, we're thin at receiver, we're thin at DB, we're thin at DT, and your transcendent quarterback has settled more lawsuits than he has thrown touchdowns. Oh, and the guy you jettisoned to find something better had his team in the divisional playoffs a year ago and picked up where he left off as a league leader at the position with his team 4-2 to start the season. What the fuck is going on, Jimmy? The ringmasters you hired to run this clown show have run this team straight into the ground, with an aging roster and $170 million plus in guaranteed money still owed to a quarterback who couldn't lead a Division VI high school team. Meanwhile, you're making plans for a goddamn glass palace on the other side of town. I hope you intend to make all your money back in hotels, restaurants, and bars and parking, because there will be no one filling the seats of your beautiful new dome, because your team sucks a million asses a second and continues to verbalize to the public that they have no interest, no intent on winning games. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully the guys will come together eventually. That's the plan? That's the best your Ivy Leaguers can come up with? What the fuck is going on? Why are the fans the only one who care about this football team? Why are the fans the only one who want to win? Why is no one in this organization being held accountable? Why is everyone in Berea okay with being a joke? We went from maybe the best roster in the NFL to we've got way more problems than a shitty quarterback, faster than Joey Chestnut gulliding footlong wieners. People talk about the fall of Rome as an example of how a great empire can crumble essentially overnight under the weight of its own poor decisions. While I'm dismayed and admittedly have no idea what the fuck is going on, I can promise you this: the rest of the league will forever use this iteration of your team as a case study into how to destroy a football team. It will be studied for years to come. That will be your legacy. Not one of winning divisional crowns or Super Bowls, but of utter futility and disappointment and the embarrassment of a great American city. And your new stadium will be an idol of incompetence, cementing that legacy for the whole world to see and mock for all eternity. We'll break whatever's left down for you next on the Burning River Sportscast. Are you blind, Kevin? Is that the issue? Do we need to get you a walking stick?
Get him off the team.
Seriously.
Get him out of here. Put him on the bench.
What do we do with this, guys?
What do the Hasms have on Kevin Stefanski?
Worst period quarterback period ever period.
But Kevin won Coach of the Year.
We have traditions when it comes to opposing fans. We give them this ancient Japanese greeting. We say aso, aso as they walk by. The Bengals are the Browns when they play the Browns, if you don't mind me saying it that way.
The Romanian Rocket.
This was one of the worst feeling losses I can remember. And the Cowboys game was only 6 weeks ago. The Giants game was 4 weeks ago. The Raiders game was 3 weeks ago. The Commanders game was 2 weeks ago. And again, the Eagles' loss was this past week. So how much more of this can we take, guys?
And he's going to have to cover somebody.
What did Anderson Cooper do to someone at CNN that they had to fly him down in the middle of the world's deadliest hurricane and stand there, get pelted in the face with debris?
Guardians in 7.
You're Ronald McDonald. You're the clown.
Ass.
You're the clown.
You can try and come up with whatever you want,
you're
but
the clown.
here's the deal.
Show everybody red shoes. Show
Here's the
everybody
clown.
red
There's
shoes.
been 2 years,
Your hairline is receding.
and you've had 2 punishments. Jimenez him and his significant other.
What an idiot.
What an idiot!
Idiot.
Good. More for you and me.
More for you and me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hate the team, not the fan.
Welcome into the Burning River Sportscast, presented by the fine folks at Tappan Media. I'm Kenny Thunder, joined today by a man who pretends to be a fruit roll-up in order to fall asleep at night. He's Red Hot Ronnie Jams. And on the board today, our favorite pasteurized and homogenized Dairy Queen, the Big Bone Man. Bone, let's take a break from the negativity of the Browns for a second. Just you and I on our own little sidebar.
Oh, I don't get to join.
Now you're out. Guards, Yankees, how pumped are you, and who wins the series?
Oh, I'm so pumped. Game 5 was a blast, and the Guardians are going to take it in 7.
Ooh.
I'm not part of this.
You're not a part of this side.
Anxiety at an all-time high.
This is our
Everybody's
sidebar.
hearts is going to be like through the roof for the next week and a half.
Mine sure is. Back to Red Hot. Where can our listeners find the dopest dope they ever heard on a podcast, the #1 ranked football podcast, and all the good pods, as well as the unofficial podcast of Cleveland Browns Backers everywhere? You can talk now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could talk. Okay. In the official podcast of some Cleveland Browns Backers somewhere.
Yeah,
you can find our podcast wherever you get your podcast. Talk at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Podcast Castro, Good Pods, and so many more. Good Pods. We're #1 football podcast.
Number one.
Yeah, go look at it. Yeah. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, the only place that you can find our video podcast. And check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Our handle for all those socials is at Burning River Sportscast, and we are on X with the handle at Burning River Pod. And while you're at it, check out our merch, www.thetappanmedia.com/shop. All kinds of stuff in there. River gear, Brook Park Browns gear, Chubb gear.
Chubb gear.
Get your Chubb gear. Chubb comes back this week.
Before he comes back.
Chubb.
Chubby right now.
Yeah, I like that. Not your chubby.
Thank you.
I like Nick Chubb. Today on the show, this is what we can look forward to. What everyone can look forward to. I guess you can look forward to. We know what's coming. We got Dog of the Week, Division Roundup around the NFL, Hot 3, an interview with the Browns Backers group this week, the Muni Lot Browns Backers, King of the North, gassed up, Week 7 preview. We got a couple other guests this week.
So much more.
Yeah, there's so much more. So I don't know what to say. Browns suck. Let's get this thing started with the Burning River News Story of the Week. Okay, so this week for the Burning River News Story of the Week. In an unfortunate turn of events last week, the city of Cleveland announced that it is shutting down the West 6 tailgate. And so for anyone that doesn't know, that is Superfan Pumpkinhead's tailgate. So to discuss exactly what's happening and whether or not something can be done to get those tailgates back, please help me welcome back to the show, Gus Angelone, a.k.a. Pumpkinhead. Gus, how are you?
Just let me start off the interview with let's go Guards.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes. Hell yes. So Gus, what happened?
Yeah, so there's been widely publicized these street takeovers here in Cleveland. They've kind of been taking over the streets, all of the streets really downtown. My tailgates are widely popular. We've been having, and on average, 2,000 to 3,000 guests come to the tailgate to enjoy the pregame festivities. Every Browns home game, and we've been doing this for 14 years now. Unfortunately, they were canceled for the 2024 season, and I'm told postponed till next year for the 2025 season. So with that being said, these street takeovers are, happening on West 6th Street where we conduct our tailgates. Just for the record, it's a very family-friendly event. We welcome everybody. One of my favorite things of the tailgates, I like to welcome fans from other teams. I even have certain things that I do to kind of razz them, but in a fun way. And unfortunately, the tailgates have been canceled this year. So these street takeovers have happened on West 6th Street. The city officials are looking for somebody to blame, and unfortunately, the finger's pointing directly at me and my partners and sponsors.
So let me understand, because it sounds like, just from what I've seen so far, it sounds like these aren't necessarily even happening during the tailgate. It's happening or like after, like during the game? Like, can you shed some light on that?
Yeah. So again, just to go on the record, we've never had a single incident in 14 years, not a fist fight, nothing at the tailgate. So these occurrences with these street takeover criminals are happening outside the tailgate or near the tailgate on the same street that we host our tailgates. So really has nothing to do with us. It's just the city looking to point the finger at somebody. And like I said, they're saying the tailgates are attracting these people, which is completely false and untrue. But unfortunately, the tailgates have become so large. We are at the mercy of the city because we need permits, and we have street closures. We reroute the RTA bus system. It's really a production to even curb the riffraff even more. Like I said, we were averaging 2,000 to 3,000 people a game. So this year we put a cap of 1,500, and we also started to charge admission to keep the nonsense out. It was a $5 admission charge. We did that for the first 2 games. As I said, there's 6 more to go, but they've been canceled, and all of the admission fees went to a charity. So it was really just to kind of deter anybody from wanting to come in and cause trouble. But again, we never really had any trouble, but we were just trying to demonstrate to the city that we're going to take precautions. We're going to try to help deter any trouble. And unfortunately, all of our efforts have gone by the wayside, and the tailgates have been canceled.
And again, these are permitted events, right? Like you've put permits, and is there Cleveland PD on scene? I'd assume at certain places just to help crowd control.
Yes, so we hire Cleveland police officers. We pay their overtime, and we're talking about 20 to 25 officers on scene. Plus, all of the bars have their own security and bouncers. In addition to, I have my own security and staff that helps. This is not. I know it's classified or titled a tailgate, but it's anything but a tailgate. This is a Browns festival that we put on for the city. It's very well known. The pictures and the videos are very well accessible. So people know what we're doing. Again, this is how I like to say it's a Browns tailgate for people that don't want to pack a grill and a 12-pack, but yet they want to participate in some kind of pregame festivities. So they come to our party, they get a show. Everything's a la carte. You want a beer? There's vendors out there, food trucks. So it's really something special that we've done for the city that no one else has been doing. And unfortunately, this Sunday will be the first Sunday, Brown Sunday, in 14 years that we will not be having or hosting our tailgate.
That's unfortunate.
Well, I know, like your event, correct me if I'm wrong, you have some sort of, I don't know the exact affiliation, but you have some sort of affiliation with the actual Browns in some way or another. And you've had guests like Bernie Kosar's there regularly to kind of get the crowd pumped up and ready to go for the game, along with a plethora of other guests, Browns alumni, those types of things. So obviously, like, this is a place people want to be.
Yeah, like it's not like a fly-by-night operation. Like, this is a pretty well-known public event.
Yes.
So I guess it's okay. So it's been canceled for right now. Like, where does that leave you? Are you trying to put on an alternative event somewhere in the meantime for folks, or are we just kind of in a wait and see mode until we can figure something out with the city?
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been unsuccessful in trying to find a new location. I've become so large in what I've done and what I do with my sponsors and partners that I need a space where I can have 2,000 guests and we can have a party and we can bring in food trucks and we can sell beer. But I've been graciously. I just want to thank everybody that's invited me and my friends and family to join their tailgates, from the Muni Lot to the pit to under the bridge, down to the flats. I mean, I've been invited so many places, and it really just shows you the camaraderie of Browns fans. But unfortunately, with the amount of setup and equipment that I have, and if you give me a lead time and I say, hey, Pumpkinhead's going to be in the Muni Lot, you're going to have 2,000 people that are going to show up to want to party with me. And the Muni Lot, I believe they charge like $75 a spot. Well, I'm going to need like 5-6 spots just for my equipment. And then as the Muni Lot community goes, those are little tailgates. It's a very organic thing in the Muni Lot. I'm running a business here. I'm running a community event, and I don't want to go to the Muni Lot and ruin or take over what they've done for many years. I need my own personal lot, and not that it's an ego thing. It's just something that people have come to used to when they hear me, or they hear the word Pumpkinhead, tailgate. These are large scale events. And it's a shame that I've been unsuccessful finding a relocation.
Can you give it? I mean, I'm assuming you talked to some of like the businesses downtown in that area. Like, sure. Is there a temperature around, like, I don't want you to throw anybody else like specifically under the bus, but like what their thoughts are on it? Like, are they disappointed that they're going to not have all those people there, or were they having issues with crime as well? I
mean, really, it's not. The crime is not an issue with any of my sponsors or my partners. Really, it's just the city looking for a scapegoat to place blame on someone, which is ironic because we have our first home game coming up since the tailgate's been canceled on this Sunday, the 20th. So, again, my 4 bar partners, the Barley House, Ivy, Dive Bar, and Velvet Dawg, we're all very curious to see what's going to transpire here on the 20th. When we all know the same thing's going to happen, but there's going to be no tailgate for them to blame. So, we will be having cameras and drones, and believe me, it will be well documented. They have that saying, you don't poke the bear. Well, Browns fans are dogs, so you want to poke that dog, especially the dog with the pumpkin on his head. I'm not going quietly. So, with that being said, I'm also starting a campaign. I will be doing rallies at my sponsoring bars. It's going to be called Save Our Tailgate. I'm also starting an online petition. People can participate in that, sign their name. Basically, we want to show the mayor of Cleveland, Justin Bibb, how important these events have become, what they mean to the community. And again, yes, we're running a tailgate. Yes, we're being paid and then all these things, but we also donate a significant amount of the revenue to charity. So not only are you hurting the tailgate and small businesses involved, but you're also taking away from charities that we've been working with over the last decade and a half.
Yeah. And so 2 things real quick. First of all, you mentioned Mayor Bibb. Sure. This is the same Mayor Bibb that, made all the huge efforts, air quotes there, to keep the stadium in Cleveland. So, I mean, we saw the kind of the empty offerings that came with that, and how it just felt we've flat. Talked about a lot on our show about how it was put out there, regardless of what they want to say. It was put out there just to look like they made an effort of keeping it down, keeping the stadium in Cleveland, when in fact what they proposed was a drop in the bucket compared to what's needed as far as renovations or stadium projects or any of that stuff. So no surprise there with Mayor Bibb. And number two, is it Mayor Bibb that we get in touch with to help save your tailgate, or is there somebody else that we should be contacting?
Yeah, so I mean, everything can be found on my social media. We'll just use my Instagram just because it's the most accessible and easiest to find. You can go to Instagram. It's Pumpkin Nation. I have all the information up there. I have Mayor Bibb's phone number and email address that you can reach out to contact him to let him know how important you are and what these mean to the city. Also, City Councilman Kerry McCormick. I have his information up there. And I'm urging everybody to reach out, but do it in a respectful way.
Sure.
I'm sure everybody's upset, or nobody's more upset than I am with my partners, but there's a way to handle things. There's the correct way to do things. I feel like I'm running for a campaign now, or like some kind of city office, because I'm kind of directing people and doing this. It's election season, as we all know. So I'm very large, easy to find on social media. So, the city's going to hear from me. They're going to, have to answer the hard questions. I've got my platform, and again, you guys are helping me with my platform, getting the news out there. So, I'm not going to go away quietly. I'm not going to give up the fight. I'm going to continue to do this, whether it's being reinstated this year, being postponed till next year, or finding a relocation. But, I'm not going away. Something's going to transpire. Like I said, the show's going to go on somewhere, and it's just a matter of where and when.
Well, maybe a run for councilman is next in your future. Maybe you might have to take it that far.
Yeah.
Well, look, we appreciate you shedding some light on this. Obviously, huge news for the local area, for a lot of local businesses, and to your point, a lot of local charities that benefit from these events. So we wish you well, and we hope you guys can get this thing back on track, get the parties restarted one way or another. And
we're going to do everything we can on our side to help get the word out as well. So
I appreciate it. The more people we can get on board, the more people that have been to the tailgates that can share their experiences with the mayor and the councilman, I think it will help. I will be downtown at my bars that I partner up with. I will be in full character. We will be having the petitions out. I'm going to be hosting rallies. So, I'm not hanging up the pumpkin. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just unfortunately not hosting events. But, come downtown, show the mayor these are important. Come to the, participating bars and let's still have a good time. Unfortunately, the Browns aren't, doing their part this season, but, that's a whole nother story. But come downtown, enjoy, the Browns flavor and excitement, and let's see if we can get these things back.
Absolutely, and even though they shut down the organized tailgate, there's nothing to stop 2,000 free people from coming down and going to the bars, right?
Yeah, well, I think the city's got numerous problems on their hands because the bars can only hold a certain amount of people. We've hosted these events for 14 years, so even though I'm large on social media, you're still going to have people coming down. You're going to still have people coming from out of town. I've got, the word's been out there. I've been on every news outlet in Cleveland. So yeah, I think the on top of the street takeover people that are still going to come downtown to still cause trouble, you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do with 2,000 people, when, we'll see what happens on the 20th.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we wish you well. Keep up the good fight. And like I said, if it comes down to a run for town council, city council, we might be looking at Councilman Head soon.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Gus. We appreciate you being on.
Thanks for giving me a time.
Wow, good time talking to Pumpkinhead there. Not under hopefully he's
under duress.
Yeah, not a good time as far as what he's going through, but good. It's always good having him on the show.
Yeah, he looks like he's under a ton of stress trying to get this thing straightened out. So,
and I hope he does. It's just a really damn shame.
Unfortunate sort of set of circumstances.
Is the city of Cleveland, are they the NFL? The No Fun League?
Apparently. I
No
mean,
fun zone.
Yeah.
Look, like this guy is doing permitted events. He pulled a permit. They've got Cleveland PD at every event. They're paying their overtime. Like, I don't know how much more of a secure, like,
For 14
what else you
years.
can do. Yeah, for over a decade.
Is it like CLE, like can't lowercase have live entertainment? Like you're not allowed to do anything down there? Like, what's happening?
I don't know, but hopefully one way or another he gets this thing put back together, either back at West 6 or they find an alternate location that they can do this safely. I mean, the really unfortunate thing is the charities that miss out because, look, people say a lot of things about Pumpkinhead and the tailgates and all this stuff, but like he's a Browns backer. They're a group that does a ton of community service and good for their charities, and they raise a ton of money at these tailgates.
Yeah.
So like they're the
Well, that's what
losers
it's
at the end of the
just. It's
day.
just classic short-sighted city bullshit. It's just like, oh well, there's problems. It must be these guys.
Yeah.
Like it's literally what did John Greco say last week? Spider-Man just pointing fingers.
Right.
Just like it's you.
Yeah, it's that guy.
Yeah. Way to go, Cleveland. Way to go.
Way to go, Cleveland.
Specifically, Mayor Bibb.
Well done.
One more thing before we get to the Browns. Let me remind you to call the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline. Don't forget to call and leave your hot takes on the Hot Take Hotline. Remember, these are hot takes. We want hot takes. We want hot takes. We want hot takes. We want hot takes.
If you ain't got hot takes now, you never had them.
No, you never had hot takes. The number to call, 330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080. Call now. We want to put you on the air.
Yes! Pick up the phone! Pick up the phone!
Call us. All right. And with that, if you're looking for the weekly recap,
Nope, not here.
Not here. Not here. You're going to have to go back into whichever podcast platform you are listening or watching on and find our live episode from Sunday night.
We broke it all down.
It's depressing.
It's
Not to dissuade you. It's entertaining. It's just depressing. It's the Browns.
I mean, nothing we said wasn't true.
Once again, Sticker.
Stinker!
But yeah, let's get into the Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week.
Doesn't matter, man. You got to play tough people in the National Football League. You got to be ready, and we got to be the dogs that we are every time we step on there on Sunday and be ready to attack and don't stop until we're in that locker room.
All right. So after the fan vote that was conducted today on our socials, that's right. We leave it up to all our listeners now to choose Dog of the Week on our live shows on Sunday night.
That's just how much we want to hear from you.
Yeah, we want you guys to choose. On our live shows on Sunday night, we each nominate a Dog of the Week candidate. From there, we turn it over to everybody on social media, let them vote, and choose who that Dog of the Week is going to be. So this week's nominees, Kenny, who'd you nominate?
I nominated Devin Bush for doing his job on one play.
Bone, who'd you nominate?
JOK, just because he's like my favorite Browns player. Besides
Fair.
Nick Chubb.
It wasn't anything specifically they did in this game. I just really like him. And then I nominated Rodney McLeod for the returning the kick for a touchdown, and he now has the same.
Kick six.
He is tied for the team lead in touchdowns with 2.
Wow.
So
2.
It's good stuff. So with that, this week's Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week is Rodney McLeod. Nice. Rodney McLeod. He had 8 total tackles, 8 solo tackles, 1 pass defense, and that touchdown, returning the blocked kick for a touchdown. That at least gave us a chance because it was the only touchdown scored in this game for the Browns.
Here's my favorite part about that. Rodney McLeod is a veteran.
Yeah.
He's kind of made no bones about this being his last season in the NFL. In fact, he has been doing the Monday or the morning show radio 1 day a week on Cleveland Sports Radio. Kind of, I think, as a prep for maybe his second career. So literally the guy that is leading our team in touchdowns is also a part-time radio host.
Is that good?
Like that's where we're at.
It's good.
That's where we're at as the Browns.
Yeah.
The radio guy is the guy that's leading the team in touchdowns.
Maybe he'll give us some real insight in a year or two about what really is going down right now.
yeah.
Rodney McLeod, I will be calling you after this season to join our show. I know you got other obligations right now, but soon. So one more time, Rodney McLeod, the Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week. And in other Browns news, guys, it's time. Nick Chubb finally returns this week.
Is this like official?
It's official.
Like
They announced it before last week's game. They said Nick Chubb's coming back next week.
Okay.
Like just on the team, or he's running the ball?
He's running the ball.
All right, nice.
Yeah, Nick Chubb's back. Well, I guess I shouldn't say like they announced it. Mary Kay Cabot, who we all know works for the Cleveland Browns, she announced that the team was expecting to return him to the starting role this week.
Nice.
So,
I mean, they need it desperately.
Yeah, so I mean, that's exciting. We'll talk more about Nick Chubb in the preview for this week. But the Cleveland Browns, again, in other Browns news, the Cleveland Browns are the lone team left in the NFL that has been unable to score 20 points in a game this season.
Sticker.
Amari Cooper leads the league with 10 drops this season.
At least we're leading the league in something.
Damn.
Yeah. This is one of the most drastic collapses of a wide receiver I've ever seen, maybe outside of Antonio Brown.
Well, he got naked on the field.
Yeah. I mean, guys,
as long as Amari keeps his clothes on, he'll be second at least to Antonio Brown.
That's fair. But is it time? Did we just need to trade him and get whatever we can for him at this point? Because he still has enough value that like a top tier team is going to want him.
Sure, like I said, I mean, like the Chiefs keep coming up as a potential option for him. I think he would be a good fit over there. Throw him in with those guys.
Buffalo Bills,
yeah.
I think the Browns have just ruined him. It's like he was such a professional up until this point. You know, he was a freaking stud.
Do you think it's that, or do you think he's just finally fallen off the cliff?
No, I think he's still a great talent, and I think he would go to another team and be a great player still.
Do you think if the Browns...
I think his mental state right now is so... Whatever the hell the Browns are doing, he knows, and it's affecting him on the field.
Do you think if the Browns switch to...
Which stinks because he's a professional, but up until this point, he's been the freaking an all-pro, you know, and I couldn't say a bad word about him, you know, and you have drop passes, obviously, on live, whatever, games, and it's making a difference this year.
Do you think if they go to Jameis Winston, it would be different?
Kind of.
See, like to me, they're 1-5 now. So, like, I don't even know that changing the quarterback matters. Like,
he's just beyond that.
Might you get better play from Jameis? Sure, but I still think this team now has reached a point of no return.
Like it needed to happen sooner.
Yeah, it needed to happen sooner for it to have any effect. At this point, you'd be doing it just to do it, and if that's the case, then I think you put DTR back there to see what you have in him. So I mean, think about the hole they would have to climb out of for it to even matter.
Yeah,
it's insurmountable.
In my opinion, I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what, just trade him. Get whatever you possibly can in draft capital back, and give Tillman and Thrash some time to see if either one of them is going to even sort of pan out and go from there.
Yeah, where's Thrash been? Because he hasn't been on the injury report the last few weeks.
They just haven't played him. He's just been nowhere
to be found.
Yeah. Great job coaching there, and just the Browns suck. So there's no offense, so it doesn't matter. I mean, that's why you can't see him, is because there's no offense.
Well, that's true. You go 3 and out on every possession. It's hard to see anything.
And speaking of having no offense and quarterback changes, Deshaun Watson is historically bad.
Oh, this is new news?
No. That's not news. I'll give you all the news. Here it comes. Watson and the Browns offense scored no touchdowns again in this game against the Eagles. They now have just 1 touchdown in the last 29 drives. He has just 6 passes for 20-plus yards this season. Every team the Browns have faced is allowing 198 passing yards per game or more. You know what Watson's high for the season is? 196 yards. He's averaging 170. His 21.5 QBR is the lowest in the NFL. And if they start him for all 17 games, the record for lowest number of yards for a player to start a full season at quarterback is within reach at this pace. It's right around 2,500 yards. The Browns' offense with Watson as the starter in 2024 through 6 games, 90 first downs. They're ranked 15th, I think. 1,000. They average 15 a game. I'm sorry. 1,441 total yards. That's 240 a game. 64.06 EXP.
Negative.
Or negative 60. Yeah. I'm sorry. Thank you. Negative 64.06 EXP points on offense, and 95 total points scored. That's 15.8 points per game. 15.8 points per game.
Barn burner.
Browns offense with PJ Walker and DTR in 2023. They played 6 games, so that's why this comparison comes up. 111 first downs, averaging 16.6 per game. 1,729 total yards, averaging 288 yards a game. Over 40 yards more per game. Negative 62.22 EXP points on O. And 106 points scored. That's 17.6 points per game. Neither P.J. Walker, I might want to throw this in here. Neither P.J. Walker nor DTR had a game under a 10 QBR last season. Watson has now had 2 of them this season. So we're literally paying $230 million guaranteed to get worse quarterback play than DTR and P.J. Walker.
Yeah, that's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for breaking that down and making him look even worse.
No, it's not hard. It's really not hard.
All you gotta do is watch him on Sunday.
Yeah. And here's the kicker. Stefanski, when asked this week if they plan to stick with Deshaun Watson at quarterback, said, quote, yes.
Wow.
End quote.
He still gives us the best chance to win, is what he said the rest of the press conference.
Yeah. And so Mitchell Schwartz, former Pro Bowl offensive lineman for the Browns, came out Sunday and tweeted this. It's incredibly shitty to do this to the rest of the team. Joel Bitonio is out there every week playing through who knows what and has to wreck his body when they have no chance of being good because of the quarterback. Myles Garrett is playing in pain every week. Feel for everyone else there. That was a direct response to a tweet that quoted the yes that I just said about keeping Deshaun Watson as quarterback. So he didn't try and hide who exactly he was talking to. It was directed 100% at Kevin Stefanski.
And that's my freaking point with Amari Cooper. It's like you have these guys who've been professionals, played with other organizations, have seen good football, and they're literally witnessing their organization shut down on them and lose, which seems to be on purpose by just continuing to put Deshaun out there.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know they're supposed to be pros, but they're freaking human, and they're playing for a team that just seems to not want to win.
So they just don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
I mean, when you watch that football being played for 6 weeks, and you come out and say, this guy gives us the best chance to win, what are you watching? What are you watching? Are you blind, Kevin? Is that the issue? Do we need to get you a walking stick?
Well, that's the point. It's so obvious that he has no control over whether or not Deshaun Watson plays.
Control. Maybe that's what we should do, is send one of those walking canes to Berea, like courtesy of Burning River Sportscast, for Kevin. Clearly can't see.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
We'll do a video of us boxing it up for him.
Yeah. He won't be able to see that because he's blind.
He's blind. It's clear he has no control over whether or not Deshaun Watson plays because, like you said, the only explanation for you saying this is the best chance for them to win is he has to be blind. Either that or he's just literally not paying attention. He's just like, whatever. He's checked out too.
I want to know, what do the Hasms have on Kevin Stefanski? Do they got nude pictures of him with animals or something? Like, what does Kevin not want out there? He won't make a change at quarterback. What is going on? What the fuck is going on?
Did he go to a Diddy party with Deshaun Watson?
They've got the video. Yeah. I mean,
that'd be the only thing that could save us. We need Deshaun Watson at a Diddy party.
Yeah, just diddling up.
Just do a diddy dum diddy do.
Diddy dum diddy do.
Yeah.
It's our only hope right now.
It's just ridiculous.
Get him off the team.
Seriously.
Get him out of here. Put him on the bench.
What do we do with this, guys?
I mean, here's the thing. You have an organization that is letting this guy play. It's not just this kid. This isn't even Deshaun's fault anymore. Like, you have an organization that is openly incompetent now.
Yeah.
I don't want to overreact, but it's time. It's time to clean house. Like, Stefanski gone, Barry gone, the rest of these clowns gone. Bring Greg Williams back as an interim head coach for this year.
Hey, we got Mike Vrabel on the squad.
Hire a new coach and GM in the offseason. Like, I don't even care who it is at this point. Like, 3 strikes, you're out. Look, you had a quarterback who set a rookie record for touchdowns, beats the Steelers en route to a divisional playoff game in his second year, and should have went to the AFC Championship game if your defense could have stopped freaking Chad Henne. Gets hurt in his 3rd year, and you run him out of town. That's strike 1.
Is old Buddy Boy still up in Minnesota? What's his face? Our old GM? The one who kind of turned...
John Dorsey? I don't know.
The one who turned the ship around.
Yeah, John Dorsey.
Yeah, I think he's in Minnesota.
I thought he was in Detroit.
Is he in Detroit? Well, either way...
That makes sense.
Yeah, either way, great organizations right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, losing faith in Baker because he was hurt is strike 1. Strike two, you make what is now openly mocked by the entire sports community as the worst transaction in like all of sports. Yeah. You bring in an alleged sex offender who hadn't played football in a year, give up 3 first-round picks, guarantee his entire contract. Oh, and he's washed as a player. And number 3, like now the whole world can see, like the Emperor has no pants. Deshaun is absolute trash. We're all watching it every single week. And you're just going to stick with him and go down with the ship. Like, nope, sorry. Like, there's no place in the NFL for poor decision-making, bad prognostication, and utter incompetence. Like, this is 3 strikes, you're out. Sorry. But Kevin won Coach of the Year. Look, I'm ready to take Kevin's second Coach of the Year away from him entirely. It was fraudulent. You don't get to... The reason he won Coach of the Year is because they went through 5 quarterbacks in the year. Because you have a quarterback who's been suspended, injured, or just plain trash every time he's on the field, you don't get to create the circumstances of adversity to overcome them and then get brownie points for it. It's like Angel Reese missing a layup to get a rebound. Like, that doesn't count. You created the shitty circumstances. And let's be real honest. Like, Kevin Stefanski's first Coach of the Year award came with a roster built by John Dorsey.
Yeah. Yep.
That guy ain't here no more.
That dude turned the organization around.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll give Andrew Perry credit where credit's due. He's made 2 good decisions as a GM. You brought in JOK, solid, and I'll give you the move for Jerry Jeudy. I think that hasn't paid any.
Jerry Judy's top 10 in separation yards. He just can't get the damn ball.
He hasn't paid any dividends yet, but he's a good player in his prime, and if he had a good quarterback, he'd be a weapon.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look at the rest of the receivers this guy's drafted. David Bell, Anthony Schwartz, Cedric Tillman. Like, you couldn't pick them worse if you absolutely tried to miss. And the rest of the cornerstone players on this team were pre-John Dorsey or drafted by John Dorsey. And let's not even forget, like, this year's top pick in the draft. You pick a guy with known character issues, again, who, believe it or not, hasn't seen the field all year because he's already found the commissioner's exempt list. This football team might win 3 games.
He saw the field this past week.
Yeah, well, he's trash.
The last 2 weeks. Or just this past week.
This football team might win 3 games this year.
Yeah.
And this group, this brain trust, has no business being anywhere near the first overall pick in the draft.
No.
Like last week, I alluded to Deshaun Watson. Should he bench himself because his play is hurting the team? Just like, whatever we said about Baker, oh, he's hurt, it seems he was hurt. Should Kevin Stefanski bench himself? Kevin Stefanski's press conferences every week go something like this. I should have called better plays. I got to put the team in a better position. Do you bench yourself, Kevin? Like, I can't make sense of this. Like, he admits it every week, but he's not going to bench himself. Like, Jesus, Andrew, wasted picks, worst deal in NFL history, drafting guys with character questions that never see the field. Should you bench yourself, Andrew? Just quit. Give it up. That's what you wanted Baker to do, right? He'd still be here if he had done that. Oh wait, people don't do that. People don't just walk away from their dream job. They don't just quit under tough circumstances. Like, it's so asinine that, like, I continue to hear that argument about Baker. But, like, again, Deshaun, Kevin, Andrew, these guys are all hurting the team just doing their damn jobs. So, like, they're not going to quit.
No. And for anybody that has to say anything about, like, oh, the stability, like, we finally have had a few good years or whatever the case may be under this front office, you throw that all away when, like you said, you go down with the sinking ship that is Deshaun Watson. When you sit here week in and week out and watch the worst quarterback by far, worst quarterback ever play football, and you sit here and say that's the best chance to win, like, all that goes out the window.
Make a damn decision. Stand up for yourself.
You're choosing to go down with that ship. You're choosing to fire yourself, Kevin.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm done with these. Like, I don't want to overreact, but, like, I can't with these guys anymore. I'm done. I'm out on these guys. They gotta go. There's no rationale for.
It's official.
They're done.
He's Stefanik.
He's not even. I'm not even gonna give him that credit. He's nothing. He's
dead to me.
They just need anybody else.
So enough of the Browns sucking ass. Let's get into the. Oh wait, there's more. Let's get into the division roundup. All right, so to start the division roundup, the Bengals beat the Giants, barely, but they beat them. And we were all right on that one, guys.
Woo.
We did it.
Big week for us.
Giants played really bad, and Bengals played well enough to beat them.
Good job, I guess.
Yeah.
Next up,
It was not an exciting game. It was like 7-10.
it was almost as bad as a Browns game.
Cincinnati scored basically a garbage time touchdown.
Make it 17-7.
17-7.
Next up, Baltimore beat Washington in the close one. This was an exciting game. This was like two real football teams playing football.
And we knew it would be.
Yeah.
We knew this was going to be a tough game to pick. And
incredibly, we all picked it right again.
Yep.
We all picked Baltimore in this one. And then finally, Pittsburgh beat the Raiders. And once again, we all picked the game right.
that was a beatdown.
Big week for us. Big week.
And finally, Cleveland took yet another ugly loss, this time against the Eagles. And once again, we were all right.
We always lose.
This is historic, guys.
Yeah.
The Burning River Sportscast crew has swept the entire AFC North.
We're like pick'em savants.
We picked 4 straight games and we got them all right.
Yeah, we are incredible. I think what you're starting to see is like we're finally starting to learn who's actually good and who's not.
Like the teams
in
are finally settling into who they're going to be this season.
Yeah, we called the Pittsburgh Steelers fraudulent earlier this year. I still maintain that they're somewhat fraudulent. I think they're middle of the road at best. But what turns out is that the Browns are the most fraudulent team in the NFL.
So fraudulent.
Yeah, so we'll eat that. We thought they were better than they are. They aren't. They're bad.
Yeah. Well, I was told they had the best roster in the NFL.
They don't.
Clearly, they don't.
No.
Do not.
And so for the AFC North, the standings are as follows: Baltimore and Pittsburgh are tied atop the division at 4-2. Cincinnati's at 2-4, and the Browns are where we belong. But not where we want to be, but where we belong.
Just feels bad. Just back to being those Browns fans.
Right.
Like we're in last place. There's no hope.
We could put the bags on our heads again.
There's no end in sight.
Yeah, we are 1-5.
And we're 6 weeks into the season, guys.
Yeah, we are, and it's bad. And we're basically out of playoff contention.
That means there's 11 more games.
Season's done.
I was actually thinking about this the other day, and the only way you make the playoffs is Kenny Thunder scenario. You basically you have to win 9 out of 11 games or whatever's left, and go 9-8 and squeak in as a wild card team.
Win every division game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Which we learned, you remember this, right? A couple years ago, we learned you could be undefeated in the division, but if you finish with the worst record, you're still not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it generally helps if you win all your division games because your record.
But it can happen
because your record generally would reflect that. But if you only win your division games,
you still lose.
Yep.
And so, the current king of the North standings, which we'll come back to later, Bone, you're on top at 12-11. You finally made it over 500.
Yeah, over 500.
I sit at 11-12. I'm almost there. And Kenny making big strides. You're right behind me at 10-13.
I'm respectable.
You're respectable. So with
Tight
that,
race.
let's take a very quick trip around the NFL. All right, so for our trip around the NFL, like I said, I'm making it quick. I got one story this week because I just thought it was hilarious, and I had to give a shout out here. Dan Campbell, head coach for the Lions, had a vendetta this week versus the Cowboys. In this game, he did the following things. He tried throwing a touchdown pass to offensive tackle Taylor Decker. He ran a hook and ladder to offensive tackle Penny Sewell. Is that how I say his name? Sewell. Penny Sewell. He let offensive tackle Dan Skipper run routes as a wide receiver. And he ran a flea flicker to Sam Laporta for a touchdown. All of this occurred because the refs said Taylor Decker didn't report as eligible in a game last season, and he wanted to show them. He wanted to show them, and so he did
mastery of the rules.
Yeah, like the pettiness on this was just like in a good way. It was just off the charts. Yeah. Like I was watching this, and I was like, by the end of the game, I was like, wait, how many offensive linemen did he get involved with the offense this week? And it was like all of them.
I was Dan Campbell.
That is fantastic. Yeah.
Right. Like this is like the shit like Bill Belichick would pull back in the day.
And they freaking annihilated the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, 47-9 or something like that, I think it was. Is that what it was? 47?
I think so.
I think it was 47-9.
Yeah.
He gets us.
Yeah.
I like Dan.
49-7. It was one of those.
It was bad. It was really bad.
Oh, it was ugly.
Yeah, I wish we had Dan Campbell as coach instead of Kevin Stefanski.
And he does great Applebee's commercials.
Yeah. Dan Campbell greater than Kevin Stefanski.
I mean, everybody is at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. But with that, let's get into the hot three.
I'm the heat in your lungs. I'm the smoke in the sky. I'm the gas in the tank. Gonna turn it up, turn it up. I'm hot to the touch, burning up. I'm hot to the touch. I'm hot to the touch, burning up. I'm hot like
All right, this week on Hot 3, guys, it's Halloween season.
Ooh, spooky season.
So we're going to talk about Halloween candy.
Speaking of Halloween season, can I just make a quick recommendation? I know spooky season is Myles Garrett's favorite season.
Don't do all the shit
I
this
don't
year.
need to see Myles Garrett dressed up as the Grim Reaper this year. Not when you're 1-6.
Yeah,
I don't
do
care.
not do it this
Hopefully
year.
hopefully he accepts that and he actually says like I'm not doing it.
Yeah, like this year is like we just need all hands on deck to try and get this thing right. Like there's no costumes. Like
I would respect that.
I got no place for it right now.
Maybe you can just like have the names of the block field goal kickers for touchdowns.
Yeah.
on a headstone.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, he can decorate his yard like it's Halloween. I'm not going to stop him from celebrating Halloween.
Just
But I
don't come to
need
the
see
stadium
him-
dressed as Vecna.
Yeah, I don't need to see him doing press conferences in costumes.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, Halloween candy this week. I want to know when you're taking your kids trick-or-treating or when you're going trick-or-treating, if you like to dress up still and go out and do that.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Free candy, man.
Hey, there's no shame. I'm not judging anyone here. I live on sugar. If I could literally just eat sugar all day, I would.
I'm addicted.
I would die.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's start with. I'll go ahead and start this week. I feel like I never start Hot 3 because I'm in charge all the time and I never make myself start. So, number 3, Snickers. Ooh. It's just classic. You'll see a theme here. Mine are mostly just like classic, like the chocolatey
Delicious
candies. Like they're just so good. I know, Kenny. We're gonna get to you. You're a big fan of fruity candy.
I'm a fruit.
You are a fruit, but we'll get there. But Snickers at number 3. Number 2, Reese's Cups. And I'm not talking like the regular Reese's Cup. Fuck that noise. I'm talking the pumpkins.
Oh, yeah. It's got to be the
delicious.
pumpkins.
It's got to be the pumpkins.
If you don't buy the pumpkins, then fuck you.
Yeah. Go home. Take that weak ass bullshit of a candy out of here.
The only time
We could get normal Reese's anytime. You can only get Reese's pumpkins at Halloween.
the only acceptable alternative to a Reese's pumpkin is if you're handing out king size regular Reese's.
Yeah.
Good point. Good
I'll
point.
accept that. If you're handing out the full size king size,
Or if you
candies-
bought early for Christmas and you're handing out Reese's Christmas trees.
trick trees too, yeah.
Yeah, I'll accept that. Although
Last year's Christmas trees for this year's.
I don't like that. But if you bought them early,
Coniferous trees can be Halloween decorations.
yes. I will say this though: the Christmas trees every year they look less and less like Christmas trees and more just like rounded triangles.
That's okay. They still taste
That's
better.
okay.
They still taste
the
better.
ratio's better in like the actual.
Yeah.
Like when it's a character, like a tree or a pumpkin
It
or whatever.
just tastes
the
better.
ratio is so much better.
Yeah.
And then finally, for me, number 1 is a Twix.
Wow.
Love Twix.
I love a good Twix. There's just the classic combination of caramel, chocolate,
cookie.
and cookie. It's just so good.
Yeah.
It's just so good. And I will say this. Any of those in king size beats the normal version any day.
Sure.
If you're handing out king size candy bars, I love you.
Yeah, we always tried to do like at least full size. Like, but we live in a small town and we didn't get that many trick or treaters. But
Yeah, we're gonna go full sizes here, I think.
we
So
always try to do full size.
yeah, hell yes. Bone, what do you got?
Oh man. Okay. It's highly under given out. I guess how I'm gonna put that. Rolos number 3.
Ooh, Rolos.
Man, I love a good Rolo.
Ooh, I just-
Chocolate and caramel. Here we go
It's
again.
freaking
that
delicious.
coming.
Yeah, I love a Rolo.
And they're just so you just a couple at a time.
pop them.
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
pop them. Yeah,
Little
delicious.
poppers.
Little
Yeah, little
poppins.
poppers. I like to make them cold. I like to put them in the fridge.
Hell
when you need
yes.
'em.
They get real chewy.
It's like eating a frozen grape.
Yeah, number 2. I believe this candy came out when we were kids. It was relatively late to the game. The Take 5.
oh hell
big
yes! I
fan.
forgot about Take 5.
Big fan of the Take 5. Delicious. 5 different ingredients. A little pretzel in there.
All delicious.
Peanut butter and nuts and chocolate.
All
caramel.
delicious.
So good. But number 1, gummies. So I'm talking bears.
He likes them
I'm talking
gummies. You know what I'm
snakes,
saying?
I'm talking
Bone likes to
worms.
get lit.
Like
when
whatever.
he's trick or treating.
I'm a big
Mushroom
fan
gummies.
of gummies. So that's my number.
What's
one.
your specific favorite
is it
gummy?
like a Sour
favorite
Patch Kids or like trolley?
Probably
worms?
the twin snakes. It's a Harborough twin snake. It's like a sweet and a sour, and they're connected.
Yeah, twin dongs. is
Twin
good.
snakes. Yeah.
Twin dongs. Who doesn't love a good twin dong?
Bone loves twin dongs.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah. Did you take that to the Jonas Brothers
Reminds me of a
convention?
Jonas Brothers concert.
You know, some of the softest gummies out there is the Albanese. It's like a white bag.
Those are my favorite.
Like red lettering. I think I pronounce it Albanese, and maybe it's different pronunciation.
Yeah.
But that's how I say it.
Yeah.
And those are probably the softest gummies in the game.
Those are delicious.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Bone didn't even comment on the twin dongs with Jonas Brothers.
He still didn't deny it.
It reminded him of a Jonas Brothers convention, twin dongs.
There's more than two Jonas Brothers. So that's where you lost me.
Twin dongs.
Double-headed.
If you put all four of you together, the three Jonas Brothers and Bone, you get double twin dongs. Anyways, Kenny.
What the fuck is going on?
What do you got for your hot three?
Hot three.
How did Halloween candy turn? Never mind.
So sexual. Number 3, I got to go Airheads.
Ooh, you're an Airhead, so that makes sense.
I love good Airheads taffy, and there's so much chocolate on Halloween.
You rate Airheads above Laffy Taffies?
I do, because Laffy Taffies really hurt my teeth.
Well, that's fair. I just like how
I could just
chewy they are.
shovel Airheads, man. Like
that's fair. They're a lot easier to eat.
Yeah. Love Airheads. But yeah, you need like the fruity like candy consistency to kind of offset all the chocolate on Halloween. That being said, number 2, I'm going to go regular Reese cups. Obviously, they should be shaped like a Halloween character.
So I was waiting for somebody to pronounce it like that, Reese cup, right? So like singular. If you look at the name of it, like what's the guy's name?
His name is
Reese. So why when you add the apostrophe S, why does it make it Reese's cup versus Reese's cup?
Nah, the SE is a long E on the end. It's Reese.
Nah.
But it's not Reese's. It's a Reese.
It's a Reese's cup.
He's like, nah.
It's not Reese.
Nah.
It's not
buying it.
It's not. It would be Reese's with an apostrophe S. It's Reese.
Go on.
Love peanut butter chocolate.
Hell yes.
And number 1, Bone stole mine is to be the Take 5.
Ooh, nice. I'm embarrassed that I forgot about it because it would have made my number 3 over Snickers.
It's got everything. You know,
it's too late though. I already made it.
Like a Reese cup is great. But the Take 5's got the caramel,
got so much more,
and the peanuts, and just more bang for your buck. Especially when you're getting those little chocolates. It's like you put a Take 5 in your mouth, you know what's in there.
That's fair. I actually probably would have went if I would have remembered Take 5s. I probably would have went Reese's at 3, Take 5 at 2, and Twix at 1. So I'm embarrassed, but I can't change it now. So
can't change your hot 3 is
my hot 3 is hot.
Hot 3 is what you get.
It is what it is. So that'll do it for the hot 3. Kenny. It's time for another interview.
Is it time for another interview?
Yeah, we already did one this show, but we're going to do another one.
Yeah, we already did one. Let's do another one.
We're going to do an interview in the Browns Backers interview series. Something we started last year. We're going to continue it this year. We're going to continue it as long as we're doing podcasts.
We love the Browns Backers.
Cleveland Browns podcast, it is, you know. Yeah. But the Browns Backers are out there. Obviously, they're diehard fans, but they're also doing a lot of great things for their communities, doing a lot of charity work, and we want to highlight that.
I was just thinking, like, if the Browns keep losing, like, do we start to just, like, slowly push Browns content out of the way and we just become like the Burning River Boys?
We're the Burning River Boys.
We just talk about anything but the Browns.
Yeah,
I mean,
might have to for a few years.
Keep adding new segments.
That's fair. Maybe. But we are going to do an interview with the Browns Backers right now.
Okay.
Because, again, we want to highlight not only the fact that they're Browns fans, but they're doing a lot of good around their communities. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the next interview in the series. Whoop, whoop.
Powered by Riverside FM.
For this Browns Backers interview, please help me welcome from right here in Cleveland and everyone's favorite place to tailgate, the president of the Muni Lot Browns Backers, Scott. Scott, hey. Thanks for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Ready for another Guards win today.
Hell yes.
Heck yeah.
Hell yes. So, question for you here. Tell us about your chapter a little bit. Or, when were you guys established? Obviously, you're in the Muni Lot. How many members do you have? Those types of things.
You got it. It's a little different story because the Browns have a pattern for how they set up these clubs, and usually they're away games with a host bar, place to watch your game when you're away. It's a little different for the Muni Lot Browns Backers because we're more of a home club, and we're more to support the actual tailgate community as opposed to the away game fans. Back in 2006, we built this bus, the bus that I've got now, which looks like the dog with the helmet. And I tried to get the Browns to become a backer and to get us to be backers, and they weren't into it at first. We finally convinced them when we met them at a club, the Put in Bay Club's event. They saw the bus. They said, all right, you get a club. And but we're a little different. I mean, it is a little unique. The bus is basically like a Browns sports bar, rolling sports bar, portable friend-making machine. And we kind of let the club revolve around that and grow from there. That That was in 2007. They gave us our club. The original idea back then, they had a different setup for the clubs, and the largest club in the world was in Arizona. We thought that was wrong, that it should be in Cleveland. We tried to bring that back. They changed it since then. The biggest club is now in Cleveland. They changed the way they did things, but we were originally really all about making it the biggest club. Now we're really about making it the best tailgate and the best party for all the people that come down there. And we'll do things like the Browns will let us know, and the Muni Lot will let us know when they're going to open on certain days, where we should park, how we should line up. We try to comply, and it's like herding cats when you're herding folks from the Muni Lot. But actually, it happens pretty well. They do come to the lot to find out the last minute details. They come to our Facebook page and such, and we go and we let them know what's been going on. So we got about 200 members now. It's grown pretty well. Now, the folks that think they're in the Muni Lot Browns Backers that are on our Facebook page, we probably got a couple thousand of those. But the ones who have actually joined, we got 200 of those. So
yeah, I hear. Well, you're going to be getting 3 more, because one of the things that we do with all of the Browns backers groups that we interview is after we're done with the interview, we go and we actually become a member of each group. So a little known fact that you can be a member of multiple Browns backers group.
Mm-hmm. Well, we follow along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and we tell people that join our group that we promise you nothing and ask you for nothing in return. You know, really, it's just you're just the person that says you're in the Muni Lot too. And we tell them if they're looking for something like the away game club experience, and we recommend them to different clubs, or tell them they should join a second one, or we would be the second one. And as far as I can tell, if you guys are cool in this interview, I'll approve you guys joining our club.
Oh, nice. It all hinges on this.
A lot of pressure to put on us.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, with that being said, you know, you mentioned that you don't ask for anything and you don't give anything in return. However, you guys are constantly giving back to your community. You're doing some charity work. So can you tell us a little bit about the things that you're raising money for and how you're going about raising that money for these groups?
Absolutely. We got a gentleman in our club named Face Paint Mike Bunnell. His name's Mike Bunnell, obviously. We call him Face Paint, and I bet you could guess why.
Does he paint faces?
He does. He paints his own anyway. Some of the people that want to tease him call him Makeup Mike. He hates that, so I figured I'd have to say that on air. But he really is passionate about the charity side of this. Does this thing with J. Babe Stern and the Professional Football Unlimited Fan Association. And for us, he does a school drive that just happened last week. So we'll do a couple charity things a year. And then we also take the bus and support other clubs in their charity events. This last weekend, we went to an American Legion in Parma for a big fundraiser for them and set up a huge tailgate. We had people from the Burke Lot that are our friends, some people that are under the bridge over by the pit. So all the tailgate communities, we kind of know each other, even if we're not all in the Muni, because sometimes they've been in the Muni or sometimes I've met them through other things. But we all support each other in these events too. So we had our bus there all day yesterday for that event too, raising money for those guys.
Nice. And so you mentioned events and things that you're doing. That bleeds into this weekend, right? I know there's got to be something big going on for the Bengals game.
Well, it's really just the same old big tailgate that we have. So, I mean, I hate to call it small, but it should be a big event anyway. I mean, opening day when it comes to tailgates is the biggest event of the year. And I don't care how good the Browns stay through the year. None of the other ones are ever quite as much crowd as that. But this will be a good one, especially with 3 games away and the first one coming back and everybody just chomping at the bit to get back into the tailgate community and scene.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got.
Go ahead, Kenny.
So I'm just curious about the bus. So do you just have the bus outfitted with like a bunch of TVs, like inside and out, or?
Well, the Muni Lot Browns Backer club actually consists of multiple tailgate vehicles. Ours was the first one that set it up. We have that bus. Probably you've seen it. The dog with the helmet. It was a couple of Browns posters a couple of years ago. In the inside, it's really a rolling bar. It's got a TV in the front. We have a DirecTV set up and we watch the game on the bus, and people do stay and watch the game on the bus even other than going in, some of them. And it's really just a place for about 20 people to hang out. Larry, who has the kennel bus, parks across from me. And if you see that Welcome to the Muni Lot banner, that's under both of our front wheels. He's got probably 15 TVs in his bus and more comfortable seating around. It's more of a living room arrangement, more like the lounge as opposed to the bar side of the club. And then there's a couple of RVs that are hooked into us. There's several vehicles that have become part of the Muni Lot Browns Backers and are all part of that little conglomeration right underneath that banner there. I think we're taking up about 24 spots now.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's grown pretty well.
And Go ahead.
I was just going to say there's a gentleman that does this Tailgate Hall of Fame, and he went around to all 31 years ago, all 31 stadiums, and he gave out 2 coins to the best tailgates. Browns Bunch and Muni Lot Browns Backers, us got it the first year, and it's grown from there. So a lot of our members in Muni Lot Browns Backers also have Tailgate Hall of Fame coins. And a really cool event happens every August where we get together for the Hall of Fame game in a campground in Canton. And it's up to now 80 different tailgates from all over the country that are a part of this organization that all come together and party for a long weekend.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, we got folks coming in from the San Diego game, from San Diego, setting up a tailgate in our area. And it's our job to protect them from the old school Muni Lot folks that might not feel that that's appropriate to have opposing fans with you. And I just tell them, these guys have been my friends. I've seen the Browns out in California in 3 different places, playing San Diego or now LA. And these guys, I stay at their house. They stay at mine. I mean, I'm not going to tell them they can't come down to the Muni. It's a blast.
Right.
And it's all about making the friends to us anyway.
Listen, Scott, you sound like the best kind of fan. The kind of fans that are like, we just want to have fun. That's the bottom line. And we don't care, what team's colors you're wearing, other than maybe the Steelers. We hate them.
Don't let them in.
But besides that, we're friends with everybody.
The Steelers fans are kind of fun too, even though their team sucks. They're fun, but they are a blast. We party with anybody. My friend, again, Face Paint Mike, one of his sayings is "Hate the team, not the fan," and we kind of follow that. And I think it's kind of extended into the Muni Lot. Something I learned recently that was a real surprise: there hasn't been an arrest in the Muni Lot for 8 years. Wow. You hear about all the trouble happening at the stadium now and then, and just people getting drunk, and you think of the Muni Lot as being the craziest spot. But it's really a love fest down there. It's beautiful. Everybody just gets along. It has just been fantastic lately. Now, still not necessarily where I'd want to take my 6-year-old, but it's definitely a blast, and you shouldn't have to worry. We have traditions when it comes to opposing fans. We give them this ancient Japanese greeting. We say "aso, aso" as they walk by. But the kind of rule is you don't throw anything at them. You don't take their stuff. Don't physically mess with them. You can say whatever you want. And most fans that come from the out of state or out of at least the area aren't looking for any special treatment. They're just looking not to be abused. And we'll invite them on the bus and hang out with them for a little while, and everybody is welcome. The bus is open, kind of like an open public space for folks to walk on and off.
This is my new favorite place to tailgate.
I was going to say, this is the most unique.
You got to come to you got to come check it out. Yeah, you got to come. You got to come for 4:00 in the morning when we head down there. You got to come and do the whole thing with us.
That's a little early for me, but I will say this, guy. I have actually been on your bus and seen the inside of it in the past. Just a quick walkthrough when we used to have season tickets several years ago. And one of the times we were down there tailgating, getting ready for a game, I was just kind of wandering, and I happened to wander on your bus. I may or may not have been a little inebriated, so I don't fully remember the whole thing.
I think they offered us shots though. When we got on the bus.
Yeah, that's what we do. We have the Otto shot named after legendary quarterback Otto Graham.
I think it might have been you, Scott.
It probably was. It probably was. It was either me or my girl. And one of the two of us are the ones pouring. She's faster at it than I am.
But no, you talked about coming home from the road trip here. So a couple of things. What are your thoughts on this year's version of the Cleveland Browns? Obviously, it's been disappointing, but what are your thoughts on the team this year?
Well, I mean, I'll start with injuries because that's a good excuse, right? You can talk about people playing well or not, but you can blame it on injuries no matter what. With injuries, especially offensive line was our strength. Now we've got some weakness on one side of it at least, and it's been a big problem. That said, I'm not sure we'd have the same problems with the same injuries with the same person at the helm. And I don't want to be that guy because I was for it. I said, all right. First, I love Baker's attitude, and I love Baker. And I didn't want to get rid of him. But when I looked at Deshaun, especially being from fantasy football all these years, said, this is a real player. He's top 5 every year. He's got better footwork, that kind of stuff. You're looking at the details. I'm not sure he has a better attitude. I'm not sure that guaranteed money doesn't mean guaranteed money and I don't have to try. It feels that way sometimes. So just from what you see, it doesn't look like he sees the field. It looks like he's got all the skills of the physical skills, but he doesn't really see what's going on fast enough to make a quick enough decision. So the line's getting blamed for giving up sacks when I'm not certain it's not taking him longer than others. So My gut feeling is that I like to blame him a little bit on it, and I'd like to see what would happen if we put Jameis in. I'm probably not very uncommon opinion anymore here.
No, and we actually have talked about it extensively for the past several weeks. Kenny actually has been calling for his job since like basically he started for the Browns. But no, we have talked a lot this season about exactly what you just said. He is top 10 in time to throw. Number 7. I don't know what the updated rankings are after this past week, but going into this past week, he was number 7 in time to throw. So he has plenty of time. He's just not making decisions.
And they're throwing the ball plenty because he's top 10 in attempts, but he's last in yards. So there's a huge disconnect there.
Yep.
It doesn't seem like he can even throw it deep right now. Seems like the only thing he can see fast enough is the short route.
Exactly. And so, I mean, obviously there's those issues. But with that being said, are you excited to see the return of Nick Chubb this week?
Absolutely. The guy's a class guy in addition to being a class ball player. You know, everything you see about him, everybody you meet that's associated with him, they're all cool as can be. And he's a star. He's so good. And maybe if they get him back, they'll actually decide to run the ball. You know, I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Isn't it odd that just the dichotomy of Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb?
You go from a frown to a smile real quick.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And with all that, what do you think the Browns are actually going to do this week against the Bengals?
I'll tell you why I think they're going to win. Because the Bengals have a way of losing to the Browns. The Bengals are the Browns when they play the Browns, if you don't mind me saying it that way. It seems like they could be fantastic, but I have a friend of mine who we gamble. Now we gamble $2. That's always my limit because you don't lose friends with $2. But we bet $2 on each of the games against the Bengals, and then whoever has the best record. And I haven't lost all 3 to them yet. Even as bad as we were, we always seem to have like one of the 4 games we might win for the year would be against those guys. So the Bengals, I'm not as afraid of them. They've also had just worse luck than us, even though I think right now they got better personnel that's starting currently, at least more capabilities, it seems, that's not injured. But I think we're going to pull that one out. And then we'll probably lose more of them after that because we should have won.
Yeah. So do you have a score prediction for this week? And don't tell me we don't do score predictions. We've had that a number of times on the show. We're going to hold you to a score prediction.
Somebody asked me that one last year, and one of the news people came to me this year and said, "You got it exactly right," and I didn't even remember it. But I don't normally get it right. Every time at the beginning of the year, somebody asks me to predict the season, I always tell them undefeated Super Bowl winners, just because I don't want to try. Nice. But in this case, I'm going to go with 16-10.
Okay, so we're still,
and I'll say. Yeah, and T. Higgins gets the touchdown for Cincy because he's on my fantasy team.
Nice. I like that. Well, I don't like them scoring at all, but I like that. It's going to help you out. But I see that you don't have them getting over the 20-point mark yet again. No. So that'll be 7 games in a row and probably some sort of new record in the NFL.
Maybe we'll see Jameis this week.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do another parade for it.
Yeah.
When they hit 20 points.
I'll tell you what, though. You remember we had the 0-16 parade. We did that more to tell the Browns that we loved what we were doing anyway. We had signs that said great fans, great tailgate, great times on the side of the bus when we did it. We didn't want to be, screw you Browns, because that's not how we feel. We love them no matter what. But we wanted to do this parade because it is one more way to party. It's one more party. So, but after those 2 seasons, 1-32 or 1-31, whatever it was, I get to the Muni Lot at 4 a.m. on opening day, and I am 70th in line at 4 a.m. So you can say whatever you want about how well they play, but it never affects the tailgate. It'll be fat and thin, somewhat different based on their win and lose, and sometimes somewhat significantly. But the early risers and the people I've known for these last 15, 20 years, they're all the same folks that I've known, and they're always going to be there. And like we always say, you make your own fun. You can't count on any team of any type to make it fun for you. You make your own fun, and if they happen to win, it just becomes more fun later.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, hey, Scott, listen,
Scott just sounds like a happy guy.
I like Scott's attitude and outlook on life. He makes me feel a little bit happier because I've been very, very depressed with the Browns this year. So,
Scott, come down to the Muni. We'll take care of that.
I'll actually be at the game tailgating this weekend. So I'm gonna try and make it a point to come over and see you. And we'll party on the bus a little bit. So
awesome. You do that.
But hey, Scott, we really appreciate the time. We wish we could keep talking to you all night long because this has been awesome, a lot of fun. But yeah, I appreciate it. Keep doing what you guys are doing. Keep those tailgates lively and just a huge party down there. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
You got it. Thank you for having me, you guys. It's been fun.
Thanks, Scott.
Fun. We're the Muni Lot Browns Backers, and you're listening to the Burning River Sportscast. Go Browns.
Man, Scott's a character, huh?
Scott's in a great mood.
That's the outlook I wish I could have on life. Instead, I'm here just crying and complaining about the Browns every day. So I let them affect my mood way more than they should.
I will say, like, out of all the Browns backers that we've talked to, they've got the most interesting setup. Like the fact that they just have RV, like in the
Well, yeah, they're the only ones that are approved for that, right?
Like a compound of RVs.
Like they just have. Where's your viewing location? Mobile bus.
Anywhere we go.
Literally everywhere is our viewing location.
Yeah, that's super dope.
Yeah, but I mean, great talking to him. Like we said, just fantastic outlook on this entire thing. And
someday when the Burning River boys get big enough,
yeah,
we're gonna have our own RV and we're gonna go to the Muni Lot and
just live broadcast.
Straight
Yeah,
from the Muni Lot.
We'll do a pregame and postgame.
Yeah,
hell yes. Here's one thing, like. Browns fans come in all different shapes and sizes and outlooks on the Browns in general. And we've talked about it the last few weeks, and he's very positive all the time. And I know we can get to be negative sometimes.
A lot of different levels of inebriation.
Yeah. I know we can get to be negative sometimes on the Browns, and it's more of a critique in a we want them to do better type of thing.
Critique.
Yes. But I think Scott gets it. He's like, yeah, people get worked up about the team, but that doesn't make them any less of a fan. It doesn't make them they don't hate the Browns. They just want them to do better.
I mean, I loved what he said about hate the team, love the fan. Like,
yeah,
you can root for whoever you want. Like, we're all people at the end of the day just trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
And I think that's a message that not enough people hear.
Yeah, for sure. And so,
unless you're a Cincinnati fan or a Pittsburgh fan, then fuck you.
Fuck them. Yeah, we don't. You go home.
And Baltimore fans too. Fuck you.
Yep. And so with that, let's take a quick revenue break and then get back here and talk about the Week 7 matchup with the Bengals.
F them all.
F them all. Towpath Distillery. Towpath Distillery, an award-winning craft distillery located in Akron, Ohio. Towpath Distillery focuses on high-quality spirits carefully made in small batches. Towpath's lineup includes an ultra-smooth, award-winning premium vodka, a small batch silver rum made from the highest-grade molasses, an American craft gin made with 9 botanicals, and a blended straight bourbon made from corn and rye. Towpath Distillery, now available locally and in 46 states. Visit towpath-distillery.com to place your order online or find an OHLQ retailer near you. Towpath Distillery, handcrafted, award-winning, small batch, local, and family-owned. All right, guys, you know what it's time to talk about?
Oh, what?
Vacation?
Yeah, it's time to talk about Burning River Sportscast helping the Dog Pound take over New Orleans.
Every week I get a little less excited.
You can't. It's still exciting. It's going to be
I'm
awesome.
excited for the trip and the tailgate and all the
Still New Orleans.
But
yeah.
I'm just so turned down about the fact that the Browns can't win a game.
Yeah, and so how are we going to help the Dog Pound take over New Orleans? New Orleans is going to be taken over by True Fan Travel and the Cleveland Browns. True Fan Travel is partnered with the Cleveland Browns to make away games home games. And so what I mean by that, this event includes optional round-trip private charter flight, 3-night stay at the Renaissance New Orleans Père Marquette French Quarter, a welcome party that's an all-inclusive cruise down the Mississippi River with the Dog Pound, a Q&A with Kevin Mack, probably some autographs there as well, a pep rally the day before, all-inclusive tailgate the day of. Bridget Linton will be on site, and so will all kinds of trip coordinators to help with any questions that may arise. So it's going to be a giant party, basically, that they've put together for when we go down to New Orleans.
Yes. Yeah, when Derek Carr went down, I was a little excited, but then Spencer Rattler came back and had a game better than Deshaun Watson's ever had in his entire career. So,
at least since he's been in Cleveland.
Well, his Browns career.
Yeah, for sure.
How hurt is Derek Carr?
That's an oblique thing. They said it could be like anywhere between like 2 to 6 weeks.
Gotcha.
He'll probably be back. We'll
see. I don't know. I mean, oblique's kind of like a high ankle sprain, especially for a quarterback.
Quinn Ewers came back in 2 weeks.
Quinn Ewers is a man.
Well, that's fair.
Derek Carr wears eyeliner.
Regardless, we're going to be here, so this trip is going to be fucking lit.
Yeah.
So,
Turn up.
So come with us and enjoy it. But with that, let's get into the Week 7 preview brought to you by True Fan Travel. Guys, this week we have the Cincinnati Bengals. It's the first division matchup. Kenny, do you know what it's time for?
Oh, is it time for Kenny's Cliff Notes?
It is.
Nice. I didn't prepare any this week. Just kidding.
Ooh.
I got you.
Spicy.
Did you cut out your sounder?
No, I let it go. It's gone. You're good. Kenny's Cliff Notes.
I like how you have such a hard time pronouncing this. It's Kenny's. Is it Kenny's Cliff Notes or is it Kenny's Cliff's Notes?
It's Cliff's Notes.
Why would it be Cliff's Notes?
They were Cliff's Notes.
But they're Kenny's notes.
But they were Kenny's Cliff's Notes.
It sounds ridiculous.
Go eat a Reese. Battle of Ohio. Bengals lead all time 53-48. Zach Taylor entering his 6th season. Feels like he was hired yesterday. Looks like he was hired yesterday. He is 39-48-1 as the Bengals frontman. Former QB coach turned OC Dan Pitcher, great hair, looks like mine, leads the offense, and Lou Anarumo, whose defensive teams seem to get better every year, serves as their DC. Joe Burrow, coming off a significant injury last year, has played well, though it's gone mostly unnoticed due to the slow 2-4 start. Burrow ranks number 1 in the NFL in quarterback rating, 110.3. If you're curious who's number 2, it's Baker Mayfield. Tied for second in touchdown passes at 12. If you're curious who's number 1, it's Baker Mayfield. And 5th in passing yards. He's also thrown just 2 interceptions all season. Bottom line, we know he's good, and despite the injury to his throwing wrist, seems to be mostly back to form. It seems the Bengals are also figuring out that what we all knew, that Zach Moss is not a running back 1, and second-year back Chase Brown has seemingly taken over as their lead back, neither having hit the 100-yard mark yet this season. One of the NFL's top wide receiver tandems in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins will provide a challenge this week for Cleveland secondary. Jamar Chase is currently 2nd in yards and tied for 1st in touchdowns with 5. And Andre Iosivas, the Romanian Rocket, that's what they call him, seems to have stepped up as the primary.
They went from the Red Rocket to the Romanian Rocket.
Seems to have stepped up as the primary wide receiver 3 with a knack for making clutch catches. And don't forget, former Dolphin Mike Gesicki has been a nice complement to their passing attack thus far. This offensive line ranks near the back half of the NFL, featuring 2024 first-round pick Amarius Mims, former Ravens Orlando Brown Jr. in his 2nd season with the team, and steadfast guard Ted Kappa. Their focus has primarily been on keeping Joe Burrow upright, but have given up a tie for 6th most sacks on the season at 15. Sam Hubbard, Sheldon Rankins, and B.J. Hill make up a formidable front led by Trey Hendrickson, who had 17.5 sacks a year ago and already has 5 this season. Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, and Von Bell are their leading tacklers, with Cam Taylor-Britt and Mike Hiltz in the secondary, who are aggressive and rangy. At kicker, Evan McPherson has quickly become one of the NFL's top kickers and a fan favorite in Cincinnati, and has the most 50-yard field goals in team history. Also, that number, 21, coming into this season, has tied for the most of any kicker since he entered the league in 2021. So, big leg from deep. Again, most in NFL history in the player's first 3 seasons. He's 10-12 on the year with a long of 56. And Ryan Reccal, the rookie punter, who does have an 80-yard boot on the season. Unfortunately, his most notable moment so far is his mishandling of a snap on a would-be game-winning kick that cost the Bengals the win against the Ravens. That, my friends, is Kenny's Cliff Notes.
Well, that was fun. I like when you do Kenny's Cliff's Notes because it just sums up everything. I mean, I really could just cut everything out after this, but I like to do my part too. So, and so with that, we're gonna get into Ronnie Jam's matchups that matter.
Matchups that matter.
It's my turn.
Your turn.
It's my turn. All right, so this week on Ronnie Jam's Matchups That Matter, we're sticking with it. We've had it like 3 weeks in a row. We're just going to keep it going.
Everything the same.
So the first one is Myles Garrett versus the Bengals offensive line. Rinse and repeat this week for this one. We got to go back to fundamentals. I know we don't have time for it, John Greco, but we're going to do it anyways. Our best players, and by fundamentals, I don't mean fundamentals like how they're playing. I mean our best players need to make big plays in big moments. Myles Garrett, obviously, he had the blocked kick, but besides that, no sacks last game. Could have used a few of them, A
couple would have been nice.
Yeah. So he needs to have a big game for the Browns to have any chance whatsoever. So the question is he going to show up? And then next up here, Nick Chubb versus the Bengals front seven. And so he is back. At least all indications are he's back. It's still early in the week where we're recording this, so hopefully they don't change their mind and decide that he's sitting the rest of the season between now and Thursday when this comes out.
Hell, I would.
Yeah. But the question is, will he remain superhuman, and can he do anything with this team? Bright spot here for the Browns against the Bengals. The Bengals rank 30th against the rush. So, not that I know he's coming off an injury, but if Nick Chubb gets anywhere near 20 carries, we should win handily.
Yeah, that's always what we said.
But so in summary, the Bengals have a 2-4 record coming off a win against the Giants. Not great so far this season, but they've had really bad luck. Among other things, their defense hasn't been great, which we kind of said before the season. Everybody talked up their defense. Their defense isn't that good. Let's be honest. Even against the pass, they're middle of the pack. I think they're lower half. But the one thing they have going for them that the Browns don't, they've been competitive in just about every game this season.
True.
And contrary to the Browns, they can score points. So that helps.
They've scored a lot a couple of times.
A lot. They scored 35 against the Ravens and still lost. So I think it was 38-35 or something like that.
Yeah, they've scored a lot a couple of times.
Yeah. So, and then on the flip side of this, the Browns have a 1-5 record coming off their devastating loss to the Eagles. This was one of the worst feeling losses I can remember. And the Cowboys game was only 6 weeks ago. The Giants game was 4 weeks ago. The Raiders game was 3 weeks ago. The Commanders game was 2 weeks ago. And again, the Eagles' loss was this past week. So how much more of this can we take, guys? Like, seriously, how much more can we take? I said last week, it's body blow after body blow, and eventually we just can't stand anymore.
Just throwing up blood.
Like, I'm about dead.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It hurts.
Unfortunately, we have to keep watching so we can put this podcast out.
Yeah. What did we get ourselves into, boys?
Burning boys. Here we come.
Yeah, but again, they've played poorly literally everywhere on the field and off the field. I'm talking passing, rushing, blocking, defense, coaching. Literally, they don't do anything that would help you win a football game.
They don't do anything a football team does.
No, they don't. They don't do it. And so as of right now, this team is the worst team in the league. Bar none. And once again this week, they will need a miracle to win. Maybe that miracle is Nick Chubb. If I had faith in any miracle, it'd be Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
I just wish I knew he was guaranteed he was like.
I agree.
Running.
So with that, Kenny, what's the betting info this week? I gotta
know. Betting info, yeah, because the Browns are at home. Browns find themselves a 4.5 point underdog.
Holy hell! At home?
At home against the Bengals, and we're going to call the over under 44. DraftKings had 44.5, and what's the other one?
MGM.
Oh shit! What's the DraftKings and
FanDuel?
FanDuel had about 43.5. So let's call it 44.
We'll call it 44. We make our own stats here.
Yeah. So depending on where you look, it's 43.5 or 44.5. Place your bets wisely. My guess is they're going to be under because the Browns score 16 points a week. So
probably under. And so, Kenny, give us the injury report.
Oh, the injury report.
But wait for the sounder.
Oh. Yeah, injury report. Limited on the Bengals side. DJ Ivy, cornerback, out with a knee. That's actually a pup injury, so he's supposed to come back Wednesday. Jackson Kirkland, guard, was placed on injured reserve with biceps last week, as well as Dax Hill, also placed on injured reserve with a knee. The rest of these guys are injured reserve players from earlier in the season, so we're not going to go through all those because they don't matter.
And for the Browns,
And for the Browns, here we go.
Strap in.
Grant Delpit out in concussion protocol following Sunday's game at Philadelphia.
He should hopefully be cleared for this week, though.
Ford is questionable with a hamstring. Is considered week to week, according to Coach Stefanski. Ethan Pocic still,
which means he's most definitely missing this week.
yes. Ethan Pocic still.
Woo! Sorry, home run by the guards. Go on.
Nice solo shot. Ethan Pocic still out. Ronnie Hickman out. Jordan Hicks out. And they have Nick Harris just questionable, but he suffered a fractured fibula.
Yeah, he's done for the season.
He's
He'll have
done.
surgery.
Martin Emerson suffered a rib injury against the Eagles. He's questionable. Elijah Moore, also with rib injury. He fell famously on the ball. We know how that feels. Knocks the wind out of you.
That's
hurts
the worst.
everything inside. So
It's
he's
the
questionable
worst.
as well. And then Nick Chubb expected to be activated from the PUP list to make his 2024 debut against the Bengals in Week 7.
Nice. And so while we're on the topic of injuries, you mentioned Grant Delpit's trying to return from a concussion. Obviously, Zell has had his fair share of concussions. Other high profile players like Tua in Miami, and even back to like Antonio Brown and some of those guys like have dealt with major head injuries that have really affected their lives, not only on the football field but continuing off the field as well. And so with that, I want to bring in a special guest to talk about a product that could potentially help with these head injuries and kind of shrink that number significantly.
Powered by Riverside FM.
So as the league continues to try to combat the concussion issue that comes with this being a violent contact sport, one thing we've seen this year is the league allowing players to wear guardian caps during games. Obviously, JOK comes to mind, but a lesser-known technology that is available to players that is starting to gain serious traction and increased use by players in all levels is a product known as Q-Collar. So although he was recently released, tight end Blake Whiteheart, who scored a touchdown against the Raiders earlier this year, he actually wears one in every game. So to inform everyone of what this product is and how it can help players, please help me welcome Suzanne Williams, VP of Sports Marketing, and Dr. Wayne Olin, Q30 Medical Advisor. Guys, how are you?
Yeah.
Hey there.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. So real quick, again, this company is Q30. The product is Q-Collar. And let's start with Dr. Wayne Olin. Dr. Olin, can you take us through exactly how Q-Collar works?
Well, and Suzanne knows my opinion of this is the brilliance really is in its simplicity. What the device does is it gently puts some pressure on the outsides of your neck, not centrally, the outsides, on the muscles, the strap muscles on the outside, where your jugular veins kind of hide right behind. The amount of pressure is not much different from a necktie. So it's pretty much the same amount of pressure if you were going to church, wearing your necktie. But what that does is it doesn't stop any blood from going to your brain, but it slows the blood coming out. There's really no clinical or no observatory difference in the way you act, feel, or function, but the venous blood sits between your brain and your skull. In reality, it's not really inside your brain, it's in between your brain and your skull. So that area gets slightly more full. Those veins get a little bit bigger because now they're holding a tiny bit more blood, and it's not much more than a teaspoon. But by doing that, it kind of locks your brain in place, almost like putting a seatbelt on it. So your brain no longer, when you accelerate and decelerate, can bang into the inside of your skull. It's held tighter, and then your brain, your skull are kind of held together as a unit.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So again, and this is just my very remedial understanding here. So we have an excess of blood in the brain, right? So is there any way that's problematic for an athlete, I guess, during strenuous activity where blood flow is important to go your heart, lungs, around the body in any way?
Well, remember, as we discussed, it's not really stopping blood from getting anywhere. The arterial blood, or the blood that's coming from your heart, that's going places with nitrogen and oxygen, is not getting impeded at all. In fact, the blood coming out of your brain is really not getting impeded. It's just getting slowed enough that it dilates up the veins around your brain. And it's like bubble wrap on the inside now. It prevents brain slosh, or the moving of your brain inside your skull, or your brain from hitting the inner tables of your bone. It's like putting a seatbelt on in a car, right? This way you're held tighter in that car. Even if the car rolls over, you're still held tightly to the seat.
Fascinating. I'm just trying to think. I'm just thinking of the space between my brain and my skull. I don't have a concept of. It's
half. Let's say half of even a centimeter, right? Say that space. There's some wiggle room, a centimeter, but that's enough room for your brain to accelerate and decelerate with a hit, change in direction, vibration, things like that. So if you imagine, really the seatbelt analogy is possibly the easiest one to accept. Mm-hmm. Hitting a bump in the seatbelt, you now move with the car, as opposed to you moving freely or flying around or going through the windshield. Your brain is now held tighter.
So that's really what causes the concussion at the end of the day, is the brain moving inside of the skull, correct?
There's a well-documented entity called brain slosh, if you look it up. And that really is, what causes it's the deceleration, the acceleration of your brain inside your skull. That's what happens when you get hit. That's what happens when you have vibration. That's what happens in a car accident. That's what happens if somebody jumps and lands awkwardly. Things like that. Or when you head a soccer ball. Those are the things that happen. Even though it looks like from the outside, like say heading a soccer ball, it might have been gentle. Inside your skull, your brain's kind of going, yeah. So that's what it minimizes. And by doing that, you minimize the movement of your brain and subsequently the injury to the brain.
And so I guess a question that I have is I mentioned, not to bring up competitors, but I know that you guys, you do things differently. The one that everybody knows just because it's been so publicized is Guardian caps. So obviously that's just more of they're adding more padding. They're doing things that way. Can you speak to the how well your products produce as far as reducing the number of concussions as compared to like a Guardian cap?
Well, comparing them is not really, sort of the path that I'm looking to take.
It's apples and oranges is probably.
There's apples and oranges preventing different issues. You know what I mean? And as you say, I'm not necessarily sure they're competitive products because they prevent different things.
Ideally, you'd actually work in tandem, I would guess, right? Somebody could use a Guardian cap and a Q collar.
Absolutely.
So I guess with the Q collar itself, what are your guys' numbers that you've seen as far as the reduction in number of concussions?
Well, remember.
Let me jump in on that real quick because I just want to make sure we're really clear about the word concussion because I know that's a really common term that people use when describing TBI, which is traumatic brain injury. But what we're really focusing on is the TBI incident, not a diagnosed concussion, because at the end of the day, concussions are extremely subjective. So there isn't a reliable diagnostic test that can reliably diagnose a concussion. So that's why there's so much controversy about it when people talk about it. And at Q Collar, what we focus on are repetitive head impacts and TBI. And so, there's 25 published studies that have been done. Probably the one that gets the most attention was a clinical trial done out of Cincinnati through the Children's Hospital. And they looked at high school athletes, football, hockey, and women's soccer players. And they looked at their brains before their season. They MRI, DTI scanned them. All those athletes were given accelerometers. Half were given Q collars, and they went out and played their entire seasons. And at the end of the year, they re-MRI'd their brains. And they actually looked at the brain scans, the structures, to see if there was changes, preseason and postseason. So when they looked at these scans, they didn't take into consideration if athletes had any subjective symptoms, right? They didn't have to say if they felt dizzy or foggy or saw stars. They just looked at black and white images, data. And what they saw were the athletes that wore the Q collars, 77% showed zero changes in their white brain matter. So their brain scans looked the same from the beginning of the season to the end. But the athletes not wearing Q collars, 73% saw significant changes in their white brain matter. So their brain was altered regardless of whether they felt a symptom or not. And so when people focus on only diagnosed concussions, I always mention, they're looking at the tip of the iceberg and they're forgetting that there's tons of ice underneath the water. Because the issue is not just a diagnosed concussion. The issue is that you're absorbing repetitive head impacts that can cause the brain slosh, which can alter your brain matter, which can lead to injury. So we really want to attack the problem at the root of it, which is how do we help stabilize the brain, reduce the brain slosh, and in doing that, helping to mitigate injury, helping lessen the severity of an injury if one does occur, right? Because nothing is ever going to be proof, right? You're not going to have 100% proof, no injury ever happening. But if we can limit the injury and limit the severity of it, you're putting that athlete in a better position of success on the field and success in life. So again, we just are really cautious about using the term concussion. I know that's easy to do, but we just feel like you're missing the root of the problem.
No, and I really appreciate everything you just said because I started this off by saying I've had a number of concussions and too many. I think I've had somewhere between 6 and 10 diagnosed concussions, probably 3 or 4 that I've been knocked out. Most of them coming from football, other sports as well. But that's, to your point, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And it absolutely is, because those are the ones that got diagnosed. We were actually in the studio just talking the other day about just reminiscing about high school football and some of the things that we all saw, because I happen to be lucky enough to have a show with 2 guys I went to high school with. One you can't see out of the camera over here, but and we were talking, and I said, those are the number that got diagnosed. There's at least, and I'm not exaggerating, at least 30 other times where I was like, I probably should not continue playing football at this moment, but I'm going to do it anyways because
you can.
That's just what you do. And not that that's a good thing, but to your point, like preventing TBI in general, and that any sort of impact and helping to lessen the effects of that and help the athlete, and you nailed it, and not just football, but in life, not just any, their given sport, but in life, is huge. It's just crazy to hear somebody put it so concisely and so, eloquently, as far as, that's not enough. Just talking about concussions is not enough. We need to be talking about all of it.
It's really not. And, we are advocates of all sports. And so, people want to pin this TBI issue on football. And we're here to tell you it's not a football problem, right? This happens and isn't part of athletes' lives, period. It's in hockey, it's in lacrosse, it's in soccer, it's in football, it's in bobsled, it's in skeleton, it's in skiing, snowboarding, equestrian athletes, rodeo. The baseball catchers, softball catchers, volleyball players. I can't tell you how many basketball athletes we get coming to us. This is a real problem. And we want to take, this bullseye off football and just really be a product that's for all athletes and really for war fighters. The Q collar itself was actually designed, and the genesis of the product came about because there was a massive TBI issue in war fighters in Afghanistan.
Wow.
And a group of generals went to doctors and said, look, we need better helmets. And one of the doctors said, if it was a helmet, we'd have a solution already. It's not the helmet. It's the fact that we're not stabilizing the brain within the skull. And he came up with a concept. If we can use jugular vein compression, we can help stabilize the brain within the body, within the skull. And it's a simple inside-out solution. Spent decades being studied. Over 25 independent peer-reviewed studies have been done. The clinical trial I mentioned out of Cincinnati Children's Hospital was the biggest clinical trial. And what they found were, first off, jugular vein compression is safe, 100% safe. And they also found it to be effective. And the FDA came in after analyzing the data independently and taking over 5 years to do so, because they'd never looked at a product like this before. and they deemed it number one, safe for athletes to wear for sports. And number two, they deemed it effective. And it is the only Class 2 FDA cleared medical device on the market. And it's because it's safe and effective. And I get a lot of folks asking me, well, why isn't it approved, FDA approved? And we have to remind folks that it's a Class 2 device. It's very low risk and it's uninvasive. And so the best thing it can get is cleared, because approval is saved for Class 3 devices, which are highly invasive and highly risky. So it's a low risk device. It's easy to wear. And it's the science and the data has proven that it can help stabilize your brain. And the thing that we can add some color to for you guys is we work with athletes across all different sports at all different levels, and war fighters and armed forces, men and women. And the feedback is all consistent, right? They feel better after practices and games and training sessions. They don't have the headaches, that dizziness, that fogginess that you as a high school football player probably came home from practice and felt a little foggy sometimes, and it was hard to do your homework. We get so many football players that tell us, I come home, I can do my homework, I can go to class, I'm clear-headed, I don't feel headachy, I don't have that heavy, foggy, lethargic feeling. I didn't feel like I got my bell rung. We have MLS players that tell us they sleep better at night after a match, right? They can actually go to bed and sleep and wake up and feel refreshed. We have race car drivers who tell us after a 4-hour race, they don't have double vision. They don't have the headaches from the vibration, the micro vibration that is happening consistently. Think of the swift boat guys, right, in the armed forces, chopping on water for hours at a time. Think of Secret Service and SEALs, Rangers, Marshals, SWATs, artillery guys deploying weapons for hours and hours, and the kickback they're absorbing. All those guys come out with headaches and double vision and fatigue. And using the Q collar helps mitigate those feelings. And we're super proud of that work that, all the science and research has gone into this device.
Listen, Suzanne, everything that you just said, like I'm just really disappointed that my athletic days are behind me, because I just want to try it. All the things that you talked about, that you said about going home from school, having trouble doing your homework, those types of things, we both, all of us here, got decent grades and made our way through school and did well. But at the same time, like, I know exactly the feeling you're talking about with everything you just said. And that followed me all the way through college, through everything. And to this day, I say I probably have recurring migraines and headaches like I do, most likely because of having a lot of
getting your bell rung,
brain injuries. And I just, I wish something like this was around, because I would try this instantly. I'd be like, yeah, this sounds good. I'm going to give it a shot.
I was going to say, I feel like I need to wear one right now.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
I feel like maybe it'll help reduce my brain fog.
Yeah.
You definitely can. And we'll get you one to wear on set. But Ronnie, I can't tell you how many parents, how many kids we get in the high school level that will send us notes, and the mom will go, you know what? My son's been wearing it for a week, and he said this is the first week he's ever come home and not had headaches. And the mom will pause and say, but I never knew he was having headaches. He never told me he felt bad after practice.
Yep.
And for me personally, just my story, I got involved because I have sons that play high school football. And you know what? I wasn't sure I wanted them to. And I felt really bad about that, because I was a collegiate athlete, and my job at the time before Q Collar, I was a part of a really high-end college, pro football company. I love football. I've been around it my whole life. And yet when it was time to sign my own children up, I was doing the whole well, what about baseball and basketball? And what about Steph Curry and Jordan Spieth? And, I was trying to dance them away from the sport that I have an incredible love for. And I felt bad about that. And at the same time, Q30 popped up on my radar, and I was like, man, I need to tell more parents. I need to tell more athletes about this. This is affecting so many more people. It's not just the guys on TV and the talking heads talking about concussions. Like, this is happening to people every day. And we have an incredible passion to help youth football, right? I don't want people to not sign their kids up, right? We want to help the game. So this is a mission for us as a company. We are extremely passionate about education, because we just believe there's a lack of education right now in people understanding RHI, repetitive head impacts, and TBI. And we want to help bridge that gap. And we want to educate athletes, parents, agents, physicians, trainers, administrators at schools. This is just another way you can protect these athletes that you love and care so much about.
Yeah,
without changing the game.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is we've had a number of segments on our show talking about, like, we understand trying to protect the players, but it's also it's this game that we love and nobody wants it to change too much. And so having a product like this that, obviously there's no end all be all. It's still going to be a combat sport. You're still going to have injuries. Things are going to happen, but to lower, you said 73%, that's a huge number. It's not like we're just messing around here. That's big. And even if I'll be honest with you, even if it's half that number, if you tell me 35 to 40% of people can, come out of football or come out of whatever sport they're playing and have a high quality of life afterwards and retain most of their brain function, instead of it dwindling away over time because of the repetitive brain or the repetitive head trauma, that's amazing.
I mean, I just keep going back to the idea of like the trickle down effect too of like those headaches. Like I can.
I have a headache right now.
Feel the pain that I had, and the thing was though is that the outcome of that was I lived on ibuprofen during all sports that I played.
NSAIDs and other over-the-counter drugs,
which can't be good for an adolescent growing up. But that
not
was
for
my
your
only
stomach,
choice.
not for other parts of your body. Right. I mean, it's all trickles down. It's not for other things. And then it also is masking the problem.
Right.
Yeah, and by no means was I ever like a top tier athlete or anything like that. I did play college football, but I wasn't on your level, Suzanne. I wasn't one of the premier programs in the nation for Division III maybe, but not for Division I. But it's followed me, and it's funny that we're having this conversation right now because I've had a migraine for 6 days in a row, and that's not good.
We need the cue caller now. No, this has been.
Here's what we also battle, and again, we're just trying to get the word out. People want to talk in absolutes. They want to say, well, is it 100% effective? Is it 100% stop every injury you could have? And the answer to that is, of course, it's no, it's not. But we still put a seatbelt on every time we get in a car. Because in the chance of an accident, that seatbelt's your best option to help reduce as much injury as possible. Just because that seatbelt's not 100%, do you not put it on anymore? Do you get on the car and go, you know what, this isn't 100% going to keep me safe in an accident, so I'm not going to wear it. That's where we try to get people to understand, there's nothing out there that you're going to put on that's going to say, wear this and you're never going to have an injury, you're going to be totally fine, and, nothing bad's going to happen. But if you can put something on that can limit your exposure, limit your risk, help mitigate the chance of an injury, or it can help reduce the severity of it, you're going to do it. And, we get a lot of people that go, well, you can't tell me this 100% prevents concussion, so it's not worth my time. And again, we go back to being like, concussions are subjective. There is no reliable diagnostic test that proves you had one, so the FDA does not recognize it with any product. And then two, just because it's not 100%, does that mean you're not going to put your seatbelt on, right? You still are. It's your best shot. Same with airbags. It's the best shot you got, so you got to take it. And so that's what, you guys reference Blake and the NFL. That's the discussions we have with these guys, right? Especially these guys at this level where they eat right, they train right, they recover right, they sleep right. They do all these little things to have 1% of an advantage over their competition. And so we talk to them like, wearing this device can get you that much of a better percentage of staying healthy, right? The best ability is availability. And then number two, don't you want to be sharp and focused and have a free mind while you're playing? And if you can be as sharp and as focused in the fourth quarter as the first quarter, isn't that a performance advantage for you over your competition? So you have to think about it like, what am I doing to put myself in the best possible position to be the best teammate, to be the best I can be to help my team achieve our goals? And what you'll find are the guys that really adopt it and start wearing it, which is what we call early adopters right now. These are the guys that have incredible leadership, mentality, right? They are leaders on the field. They're leaders in the locker room.
Right.
They have a lot of conviction, meaning they believe in things. When they believe in something, they follow through with it. And then at the end of the day, they're guys that are really passionate about their families, really passionate about whether that family is their team or that family is their wife and their children or their girlfriend or their parents. We get a lot of moms calling us. These athletes want to make sure they're there for their families. And so we've got a great group of guys that are passionate about it, that believe in it. And we just feel really lucky that we get to work with them because they're wonderful people.
This has been, fascinating.
Oh, this is awesome. Listen,
we could have this conversation all day.
I was going to say.
I have a couple more other quick questions here. I just want to while we have you. So obviously, the crux of this is we want adoption, right? We talked a little bit about, alluded to parents maybe not wanting their children to play certain sports. What has adoption looked like for you guys in terms of getting this out in youth sports and other amateur sports? And what kind of plans do you have to kind of get this thing moving along in the pro ranks as well?
Yeah, it's been really fascinating. We've been on the market since September 2021, so we're still deemed a new product. But I will tell you in the world of, and I don't know how much you guys are educated on lacrosse, but in the world of lacrosse, there is a really high adoption rate, particularly in men's, but also women's. Football has been wonderful for us. Soccer is getting there. Soccer is not a equipment sport really. So there's a little bit more of a learning curve with soccer athletes understanding, this is a little piece of equipment you have to put on. But it's been really fascinating. And what we see, and we see this whether it's a pro team, a college team, or a youth team, is it's by word of mouth. So what happens is one athlete gets it and they start wearing it. And their locker room buddy turns to them and goes, "What is that?" And the athlete goes, "Well, it's a Q collar. And what does it do?" And they explain it. And then they say, "Well, how do you like it?" And when the athlete goes, "I love it. I don't have headaches. I feel better. It helps me play better. I feel better about myself." Then you see the second athlete get it, and then the third. And so what we've noticed are these pods that are popping up. And they're pods on teams, they're pods within the state. I'm from the Maryland area, and so the DMV, is a place I know well. And, what it looks like in the DMV is incredible. It's that lacrosse world. We are an official sponsor of the PLL, which is the Premier Lacrosse League. And they are absolutely fabulous. They're our first sponsorship with the league. They're incredibly progressive. The athletes in the league have the opportunity to wear it. And they've been wonderful for us. So adoption is coming, but it really comes the old-fashioned grassroots way. Players talking to players. And honestly, we wouldn't want it any other way. It's incredibly authentic. And as a medical device, it should be that way because we're not going to be unauthentic. We're not going to put stuff out there that people can't experience for themselves. So I would tell you the old game of telephone is really how word has been spreading.
Interesting.
We're also seeing, we had a player buy it for his entire high school, a pro.
Oh, nice.
Football player outfitted his whole high school.
We had two. We had Jaden Hicks, who is with the Chiefs. He wore it when he was at Washington State and loves it. And so Jaden donated collars to Bishop Gorman, which was incredibly charitable of him. And then Logan Wilson with the Bengals just did it with his high school in Natrona, Wyoming. So these players get it, they love it, and then they go back to their high school programs and go, "I wish I had had this when I was your age."
It's interesting you see the adoption kind of spreading that way. Frankly, that's kind of how we came across it, right? It's I saw an ad for this, I kind of looked at it, and then all of a sudden I'm noticing, oh, hey, there's a guy that's got one on. Oh, hey, there's a guy that's got one on. I'm sending pictures to the guys in the group chat hey, these guys are wearing Q collars. We got to get these guys on and talk about this thing because it's just very organic, the same way we've just found out about it ourselves.
Yep.
I could almost pinpoint exactly how guys get it in the league. Because I can tell you, who they played with in college, then who their teammates are, and it just goes like grapevine. So, you wore it, and it goes by position. Position groups look out for each other. So you'll see there's a lot of safeties and corners. There's a lot of tight ends, a lot of running backs. So once one guy in the position starts wearing it, it kind of starts spreading. Tony Pollard started in running backs for us. Taylor Rapp really started it in the safeties for us. Drew Tranquil started it in the linebackers for us. And then it just spreads.
It's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Listen, Suzanne, Dr. Olin, we would love to sit here and discuss this with you all day long, because I'm absolutely fascinated. Like I'm going to take you up on your offer. I want to get these for the studio. I want to see how this works. But
there's an empty spot on the desk. You can put it right up there.
See. But no, I appreciate all of the insight that you've both provided throughout this entire interview. Again, fascinating product. We definitely at some point in the future want to have you guys back on to talk more about it, especially because after talking with you guys, I'm pretty confident that we're going to start seeing this more and more in the NFL. And it's a great thing. I mean,
well, it's something that I'm going to start talking about just in my own circles with parents and things that have kids in sports.
Yeah, we're at that age where, you talked about youth sports and those types of things, and we all have young kids, and they're getting, they're going to be getting into youth sports and those types of things. And this is definitely on my radar, and I'm going to be pushing this to every team that my daughter ever plays for. So
that's awesome.
I love it. I love it, guys. Well, thanks for having us. It's a pleasure for us to be able to talk about it. So any questions, hit us up. We're around.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate the opportunity to spread the word.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That was a fascinating interview.
That in 3 years of podcasting has to be the most fascinating interview that we've done.
Well, it's just incredible.
We've had a lot of good guests on, but that was just the science of it. I just
want to wear one at work.
Yeah,
I know. That's what I came away from this thinking. Not only athletes and servicemen, but normal. Your job is strenuous as far as you're climbing and doing whatever, and yeah, I mean, that's got to help. Even little jolts on a day-to-day basis, your brain's constantly moving in there. So.
I mean, the fact, and I didn't even put together the military aspect of it until she kind of started talking about it. Yeah. And I mean, what an interesting idea! That's kind of was born out of kind of that idea of how do we help servicemen and women, and then just the practical application then of this to sports for all ages and all sports. Yeah. I mean, I think that's. She made a really good point about it's not the concussions themselves, those are bad, but what we're working against is essentially any movement of the brain inside of your skull during any contact sport, any sport at all, where your head is jostled and moved to extremes to prevent those repeated impacts. Because at some point there's I don't this feels like a new. Like a new
whole different way of looking at it.
Study. Yeah. When we think about CTE, we instantly think of concussions, but when you don't think about it as that the repeated little bumps in your head that probably take a toll over time.
Over time, those are probably worse than maybe one big concussion.
Right.
And so it's just fascinating. I am 100% going to be pushing this on to every child I know that is getting into youth football, and really any sport, but especially contact sports. I'm gonna push that they invest in a cue collar for their child, because it's just there.
Well, just one more thing.
What better investment than to invest into your long term?
Yeah, just one more thing that helps
health.
Prevent injuries, like she said, with a seatbelt. You put it on in the car.
Yeah, Bone, you gonna have the girls wear this?
If they play any sports.
So far, no dice.
They're rather not interested in athletic activity.
they're more creative types.
Yeah, that's fair. So have them wear it when they draw.
Sure. Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting that she kind of explained the FDA classification, and because I think that's a question a lot of people would have is well, why isn't this approved? She very clearly laid out,
because it can't be no device like that can be
right. Yeah. So I thought that was fascinating.
No, awesome stuff. We're definitely gonna have them back on because I want to talk more about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think just the application here for youth sports. I mean, my own wife is I don't know that I really want our son to play football when he grows up, and I'm all boys play football. So if they live in this house, they're going to play football.
At least he can wear a Q collar now and lessen his chances by 73%.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like stuff like this, as it develops over time, like, and the technology gets better and better, and the knowledge gets spread, and awareness is increased about these things. Like, just one more tool to protect your children and protect you growing up doing stuff that's physical.
Absolutely. So let's get back into football here. For the Week 7 matchup with the Bengals, let's talk about our players to watch. Bone, who do you got?
Oh, man. You know what? I wrote something down a little bit here. Not a whole lot, but something.
You wrote something.
All right, so.
Bone came prepared.
My player to watch is Greg Newsome. I feel like he's had a rough season. And,
it's been bad.
I'm hoping he turns it around this week. He's got two really good receivers, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and he's going to have to cover somebody, or else we're gonna have a rough day. So my player
of the year.
My player to watch is Greg Newsome.
He's gonna have to cover somebody.
Yeah, he's been criticized quite a bit, and rightfully so. So looking for a big day out of him.
Kenny,
I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, I'll go. It's kind of a cop-up, but like, who else are you going to watch? As long as he's playing, my player to watch is Nick Chubb. For a couple of reasons. One, obviously, we want to know how that knee is going to hold up. Two, I want to know if he can elevate this offensive line and make them look better than they are. Because it makes you wonder, like the fact that Nick Chubb's been on the team for a few years and the offensive line has been consistently, quote, good. How much of that was Nick Chubb making them look better than they are? It's
just a valid question.
Yeah, like at this point, like, because a lot of that personnel is the same. Obviously, there's been injuries and whatever else, but a lot of that personnel is the same. So, is it Nick Chubb that's making them look better than they are, or like what's going on here? So that's something I think is interesting, because if it takes a turn, and all of a sudden we start rushing for 120 yards a game, it's clearly Nick Chubb. It's clearly Nick Chubb.
Fair.
And then finally, can he take some pressure off of Deshaun? And will it even matter? Deshaun's that bad. Does it even matter if he takes pressure off of Deshaun? Like, will it do anything for him? So I just want to take see how that plays out. And then it's Nick Chubb. It's Nick Chubb. I'm so excited. I'm full Chubb for Nick Chubb. I'm full Chubb for Nick Chubb. I'm full Chubb for Nick Chubb.
Nice.
I haven't been this excited about the Browns since
the first game.
Yeah. Nick Chubb's back. He's back, baby. Kenny, who you got?
So I let you go first. Obviously, we prepare our notes separately for this sort of thing, and I basically wrote down what you wrote. So I second that. If I have
less excited than I am, but you second that.
If I have to pick a guy, it'll be Devin Bush, because I hope he does his job one more time.
Just one more time.
One more time. Hit me, baby, one more time, Devin Bush.
Yeah, hopefully the guys behind him do their job as well.
Yeah, but no, I'm also excited to see Nick Chubb come back. I mean, this is obviously a monumental weekend for Cleveland sports to have who I believe is the best athlete among any of the three major sports teams that we were unfortunately had ripped away from us last season, early in the season. I just think that he's a class act as a player, and he's the most impressive athlete that I've witnessed in my lifetime play football. I just think every ounce of him is football player, and so I'm excited to see him back on the field.
Can't wait. And you know what it's time for?
What time is it?
Get excited, because it's time to get gassed up.
Oh, boy. I can get gassed up at least once. I'm pretty turned down, but I can get gassed up at least once.
All right, it's that time again, boys. Is there anything you're gassed up about right now? I'm going to start with Kenny. Kenny, what are you gassed up about?
I'm always gassed up.
You're the gassiest.
So much gas.
So much gas in your ass.
So much gas. Here's what I'm gassed up about this week. Guys, obviously, the southeastern part of our country has just been ravaged by hurricanes over the last 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
You saw that.
First, Helene comes in, and then Milton right after, and just smacks the whole state of Florida.
What a bunch of dumb
around.
names, too. Helene and Milton.
I didn't name them.
Milton, whatever.
But obviously, we hope Everybody is safe down there. We have a lot of Browns backers that are down there, and a lot of friends from school that live down there still that call Florida home. Obviously, tons of devastation, debris, things that need cleared, but hopefully things will be back to normal there sooner rather than later. But here's what I'm gassed up about. The fact that CNN had poor Anderson Cooper out in the middle of landfall during Hurricane Milton. Now, all week long, we're told this is the most dangerous storm maybe ever in human recorded history. They're telling people, write your name and your address on your arm in Sharpie because you will certainly die, and we need to be able to identify you when we find you. Meanwhile, we stick this guy who weighs probably 138 pounds, dripping wet, which he is there, out in case
anyone was wondering, we threw up a picture of Anderson Cooper in the background here. So if you're on the audio version, you'll see that when the video version comes out.
Poor Anderson Cooper in Bradenton, Florida, where the hurricane is making landfall. And look, I'm not the biggest Anderson Cooper fan in the world, but the thing is Anderson Cooper is CNN's guy, right?
He's paid his dues.
He's the guy. If you look up Anderson Cooper just in a quick Google search salary,
it comes up the guy.
It comes up $12 to $20 million a year. That's what they're paying Anderson Cooper to sit behind a desk and basically do this at night. Every night, he's their lead anchor. Anderson Cooper was at one time a war correspondent. He rode in Humvees, praying not to get blown up by an IED. He did this kind of stuff where he risked his life for a living in order to make $20 million a year sitting behind a nighttime anchor desk. Anderson Cooper, look, again, in the grand scheme of things, does he mean anything to me? No, but here's this poor guy whose life is cushy in a studio, who probably goes home and covers up with his Sherpa blanket and drinks hot chocolate, and that's fine. That's what he's earned. That's his thing. He's not this guy anymore that goes out in the middle of a hurricane. Frankly,
just gets hit in the face with debris.
And then he gets hit in the face on live TV. The guy can't keep his hat on. You can't hear what he's saying. He can't hear what other people are saying. And he's talking. There's 3 feet of running water that he's trying to stay afloat in. Why do we even have people out there doing this? We're telling everybody, literally, if you go out in this storm, if you stay here, you will die. By the way, we're going to send our most expensive guy out there and just have him stand with a microphone for 3 hours.
Is that not a good plan?
We have cameras on every building, every roadside, every intersection, everywhere. We can see that there's 4 feet of water on the ground. You don't need to be in it to tell us that. We already have the footage. I know people eat up the doom and the gloom and they're oh, look at this thing making all the wind blowing and stuff. You don't need to be there anymore. There was a time and place where you did. But we have cameras there now. Unless you're a literal storm chaser, and Anderson Cooper is not. If you're one of those guys that gets hard off of being in the middle of a storm that wants to film the F5 tornado at the base of this thing, okay, those guys made that decision to do that for a livelihood. If that's what you want to do with your life, then we'll let you call in to CNN or wherever and report on how bad things are. But why are we putting poor Anderson Cooper out in the middle of a hurricane? It makes no sense. It's like taking LeBron James and being I don't know,
play this youth team.
Stand here and let us pelt you with paintballs for no reason before an NBA game. It just doesn't make any sense at all. He's their LeBron James. And they put him out in the middle of a hurricane. I'm just watching. I'm just why? Why? What did Anderson Cooper do to someone at CNN that they had to fly him down in the middle of the world's deadliest hurricane and stand there, get pelted in the face with debris?
Did he go to a Diddy party?
He's not towing the line.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's what I'm watching it in real time and I'm just what the fuck is Anderson Cooper doing in the middle of a hurricane?
There's
no reason for it.
That's cause for getting gassed up. I don't really know how I follow up Anderson Cooper. But Bone, I'm gonna let you try.
Oh, excellent. Oh, well, I got something exciting.
Okay.
I'm gonna go more positive here. The freaking Guardians, man, are on fire right now. and they just whooped up on the Tigers. But more importantly, I wanted to cover, cover last game. So we got Lane Thomas, grand slam, right?
Oh, that was so hard.
Dude, just insane. One of the best games I've ever seen. Just like the meaning of it and where it puts us, moving on to the next round, playing the Yankees. But more importantly, I want to talk about David Fry in game 4.
Nice.
You know what? He's going to get forgotten.
Don't forget
everybody's talking about Lane Thomas right now, which he's had a great series. Game 1, hero of the game. Game 5, hero of the game. But David Fry, we wouldn't have had a game 5 if we didn't have a game 4 with David Fry.
Very true.
All right. So his home run, his RBI there to load the bases, if I remember this correctly. It was just awesome. I'm losing my train of thought, but yeah. So that's got. I just want to highlight David Fry. I'm guessing about David Fry. The dude's a stud.
Unsung hero of the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah. So Guardians right now, they're losing right now, which is sad, but it's still going to be a good game.
It's a 7-game series.
Guardians in 7.
Nice. I got Guardians in 6.
I like that better.
I'm gonna go along the same lines because you kind of stole mine. Just the Guardians being in the playoffs, and I'm gassed up about that. I'm excited. But I'm gonna highlight Donovan Mitchell here. So the Cavs player, the Cavs guard, was at the Guardians game. You see what I did there?
So many
nice.
But yeah, he was at the Guardians game, and I'm gassed up that Donovan Mitchell is gassed up because Donovan Mitchell, he took like a it's not a selfie because it was a video, but it was like a selfie video. Yeah, of him in the stadium celebrating with everybody else when the grand slam was hit in game 5, and the crowd was going nuts. Donovan Mitchell was excited. Everybody around him was excited. Like it was awesome. And so this is the second time Donovan Mitchell has been out supporting a Cleveland team. He was also at the Muni Lot earlier this season before a home game. I think it was the home opener, getting gassed up about the Browns. So just Donovan Mitchell. That's what I'm gassed up about. I'm gassed up that Donovan Mitchell is gassed up and loves Cleveland sports.
Well, there was so much talk about like Donovan Mitchell would definitely never stay here. Like that, like it wasn't his first choice to come here, all that nonsense.
Like, even if you don't at this point, like, I'm happy that while you were here, you supported all the other teams.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he kind of likes it here now.
Absolute dog.
It's nice.
Hey, I forgot to say one thing about David Fry.
Okay.
Squeeze bunt.
He did do that. That was phenomenal. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Gave us an insurance run, didn't it?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm gassed up about Donovan Mitchell being gassed up. Just keep doing your thing. Because we like having you in Cleveland. Hopefully you stay.
Hell yes.
And that'll take us to...
Cavs got their act together. The Guards have theirs together. Just not the Browns.
Just not the Browns. Browns suck ass.
Suck a million asses a second. Just one. A million a second.
A million a second. And with that, let's get into the King of the North. Kenny, are you excited? In case anyone doesn't know by now, this is our year-long AFC North Pick'em competition. At the end of the season, whoever comes in last place gets punished. In the preseason last year, Kenny had a gross of eggs thrown at him by fans in the Muni Lot before a game. In the preseason this year, Kenny had his entire head of hair and beard shaved clean off. A lot of hair donated, Kenny. A lot of hair.
I do what I can for the charities. You know.
Good man.
I'm a charitable man.
Good man. Punishment this season will be you have to go to a public pool, get in the pool, and then publicly announce that you have peed in said pool. Kenny, how excited are you to do this?
I'm not the one going to do it.
That's what you keep saying. But let's get into things here. First things first, I want to remind everyone that Bone is the reigning defending king of the North. Kenny, you're a clown.
How come you don't get designated here anywhere? You're not anything.
I am a previous...
Bones the king of the North. I'm a clown. What are you?
Previous king of the North.
No, that doesn't matter. You lost last year.
You're the only clown. You lose every year.
You're also a clown.
You lose every year. You always come in last. You're the worst. You're the worst. You're trash. You're trash.
Your name is literally Ronald. You're Ronald McDonald. You're the clown.
Ass.
You're the clown.
You can try and come up with whatever you want, but here's the deal.
Show everybody red shoes.
There's been 2 years.
Your hairline is receding.
And you've had 2 punishments. You've had 2 punishments in 2 years. It feels bad. It's okay. It's okay. Now let's remind everyone of our current records after week 6. Bone, you're leading the way at 12-11.
That feels really good.
Being above 500, it's final. You finally got there.
I got there, yeah. Yeah.
Nice. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I use I because I'm the only one.
Oh, thank you. I'm almost there. I am at 11 and 12, but not quite. And Kenny bringing up the rear at 10 and 13.
I'm 1 and 2 games behind. I'm literally.
But are you in last place? Yes or no?
I mean,
are you in last place? Yes or no? Are you in last place? Yes or no?
We have 11 weeks of games to pick.
So you are in last place.
Currently, yes.
Yes. Okay. That's all I was asking. But let's get into this week's games. We'll start with Baltimore. Baltimore travels to Tampa Bay to take on Baker and the boys. Kenny, we'll start with you because I know you love Baker.
I think, again, this week, the Baltimore game is the hardest one to pick.
Fair.
Baltimore's playing really well. That rushing attack is sick. And Baker is also playing well. Like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, he's leading the league in touchdown passes, which apparently we needed an upgrade from. And they're also 4-2 and have been scoring points nonstop. Here's what swung me and made me decide this week is not Baker. But I'm going to go Buccaneers, and here's why. Is if you watched that game at all last week, Happy learned how to putt. Tampa Bay can run the ball, and they're going to be able to run it just as well as Baltimore is on Sunday. And I think Baker balls out again and keeps playing like an MVP. So I'm going to go Buccaneers.
Nice. I'll go next year. I have Baltimore in this one. I actually agree with you. I think this is going to be a very close game. I think the Buccaneers are going to look good again. I think this is a high-scoring game. I see this as kind of a shootout, which is going to be to me. It's going to be a weird shootout because it's not going to be done in the pass game. I think you nailed it. It's going to be a game where both teams score like 30-plus points, but running the ball. So it's going to be weird to watch because you don't typically see that. But I've got Baltimore winning a close one in this one. Probably a last-second field goal. Justin Tucker, Hall of Fame kicker, finally. He's not as good as Dustin. Dustin is greater than Justin.
Dustin's greater.
But Justin Tucker is going to kick a field goal to win it for Baltimore. Bone, who you got?
I'm picking the Buccaneers. I think it's a home game. Are they playing back at their stadium? They played at the Superdome last week, didn't they?
I don't know. I don't think they've made a decision yet whether or not they'll be in Tampa Bay.
I mean, they're still in the South, wherever they end up playing, but so it should be a home game for them, regardless where they're at. But yeah, I'm going to go Buccaneers. They're playing well. So is Baltimore. Yeah, tough game, but going Bucks.
All right. Well, it's me, Kenny. You're sneaking up there. This could be good or bad for you. Next up here, the Steelers host the Jets. I will go first in this one. I got the Steelers in this one, just for the simple fact. I think this is a pretty even matchup. Is the Jets have a little bit of new life? It seems. I know they're playing. I don't know how the game's going to end up, but they're sticking with Buffalo right now on Monday Night Football. I like the Steelers at home, though. I like, obviously, they just win games at home. Mike Tomlin has them winning games all the time against these teams that it's like they're okay, they're matched up pretty well, but for some reason, the Steelers always come out on top of that, especially being at home. So I got the Steelers. Kenny, who you got?
Last week on the show, you called the Jets a disaster.
Yep.
Which became even more of a disaster as the week went on, and they fired head coach Robert Saleh. Steelers scored a bazillion points this week, have found their offense. This one's not close. I think Steelers take it to New York, who is, as you mentioned, a disaster.
Yeah, I think they're actually better off now that they got rid of Saleh, but at best they're middle of the road. The only reason I think it's going to be even semi-close is because I still think the Steelers are fraudulent. And they're not a top-tier team. I think they're more of middle of the pack.
See, I found it interesting. I know Rodgers was on with McAfee right after they fired Robert Saleh because they were basically
he was fired up that people were pointing the finger at him.
They were basically like, "This is what you wanted, right?" Like that's what everybody says, and he was kind of like, I don't want anybody fired. He's like, I have dinner with Robert Saleh and his kids. Like, his son was my throwing buddy all during camp. Like, I'm really close with him. I feel for him today going to school and, like, having kids say shit to him. And so I think based on just how he kind of handled that interview, like, it seemed like this was a shocking move to kind of everybody in the building, including him. despite the fact that he talked to the owner the night before or whatever. But he said that was really just kind of a courtesy call to see how he was doing because he got nicked up pretty good in that game. But I just look. You don't fire your head coach and instantly get better. So I just
fair. Bone, who you got in this one?
Yeah, Steelers. Home game for the Steelers. I don't need to say any more than what you guys have already thrown out there.
Fair. And then finally, the Browns are back home hosting the Bengals in the first division game of the season, with this one featuring the potential return of Nick Chubb. Bone, we're going to start with you.
I'm gonna pick the Bengals.
Oh, come on, Bone, do it. I need to catch up.
I know. I just still can't pick the Browns to win. I don't know if we can stop Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and I still don't trust the offense until I see it. So I got to pick against the Browns.
What's the score?
Let's go 24-13 Bengals.
Damn, the struggles continue. I mean, whatever. Kenny, who you got?
I think it's really unfortunate that Nick Chubb's going to return in a loss. I'm going to go Bengals 30-13. Andre.
Wow!
Iasivas, the Romanian Rocket, catches 2 touchdowns in this game.
Wow. You guys are making me think.
Because even if Chubb comes back, I'm like, is he going to get a full workload?
No,
I don't think so.
Not. I think it'll be exciting. I think it'll provide some pop to the crowd for a minute, but he's going to get 7 or 8 carries, and it's just not going to matter because Deshaun is just that bad.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I agree with a lot of the things you guys are saying. Thank you.
Nice.
Basically everything you guys are saying, I agree with. Deshaun's really bad. The worst. Worst period, quarterback period ever, period. However, I'm going against my better judgment here. And I think that the team, if Nick Chubb does return in this one, the team will be riding an emotional high.
Sure.
The defense is going to be playing just out of their minds. The Bengals already seem to have a problem with Cleveland for whatever reason. Even when the Bengals are really good and the Browns are really bad.
We beat them.
The Bengals have a problem with Cleveland.
I will say that. That was the only thing that made me hesitate at all was that the Bengals have a hard time beating Cleveland in Cleveland.
Yeah. And Myles Garrett actually seems to have Joe Burrow's number. That's the one guy that we complain about Myles Garrett just not putting up stats, but he tends to put up stats against Joe Burrow.
And this offensive line is not great.
Right. And so I think it's going to be very close. I think we're going to play poorly. I think somehow we're going to manage to stay in the game. But I think the addition of Nick Chubb puts us over the 20-point hump.
Oh, yeah.
Barely, but we get there. And I have the Browns winning this one 21-20. We lost by a point, we've lost a few close games these last few weeks. 20-16 in basically every game. We lose 20-16. That's what we lose. This week we score 21.
Nice.
And we win by a point.
I think it was Scott earlier, right? That he said the Bengals are the Browns when they play the Browns or something like that. Is that what he said?
Yeah, I'm hanging on to that.
I mean, look, I support it. Where I think you went wrong is the fact that the Browns can't score 21 points. That's just not going to happen.
I know.
It could be 16-15, but it can't be 21-20.
I'm sticking with it. 21-20. That's my prediction.
Ooh, big week. Big week.
That's my prediction. We got a lot of opposite picks, or a couple opposite picks. So this is going to be. I might be making fun of myself in King of the North next week. But with that, let me remind everybody to call the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline. Don't forget to call and leave your hot takes on the Hot Take Hotline. We want your hot takes. These are hot takes. We want hot takes.
Takes, bot snakes.
I don't know what that means, but give us your hot takes.
Really good rhyme.
Yeah, top notch. 330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080. Call now. We'll put you on the air. We'll do it. And be sure to check out our gear, www.thetapinmedia.com/shop. And that'll do it for us. Kenny, what can we expect next week?
What can we expect next week? Back next week on Sunday night. We'll be joining us on Sunday evening.
Say it so we can hear it.
We will be live on Sunday night. That's right. Join us on Sunday evening after the game for another live edition of BRS. That's us. We will be recapping the Browns' Week 7 game against the Cincinnati Bengals. You spelled Kentucky wrong. We will be on...
Funniest joke I heard all day.
Approximately 8 o'clock. Should be live. Look, here's the thing. They should be live on YouTube, Facebook, and X around 8 o'clock. Admittedly, we've had some technical issues the last couple of weeks.
Some of these integrations, they just don't want to work right.
And so we've been like a little delayed.
Like between 8 and 8:15, we'll be on.
Yeah, we'll be on around that time. So look for your notifications. Follow us on socials. Look for your notifications that we're live and join in. We'd love to hear from you during the game, after the game, during our show. We will read your comments live on air and respond to them in real time. So join us on Sunday.
And then what's next?
And then next Thursday, we'll be back to preview the Week 8 game against the Baltimore Ravens, back-to-back division games, as well as another Browns backer interview. Bowling Green Browns backers, our newfound friends that we met at the President's Summit this year.
This is going to be a good one because I know they have a good story to tell. So
we will be excited to have them on. And we also have not one, but two special guests. Our defensive correspondent, John Hughes, will be back to tell us what the fuck is going on with the defense. And tentatively, but probably, we have superfan Brownstronaut scheduled to appear on the show.
Him and his significant other are expecting a child, so it's due any day. So that's why it's tentative. But he said he's going to try and make time for us. If at all possible.
Well, that's a nice fella then.
Yeah. So don't forget to check us out on social media. Tappin Media is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Tappin Media. I'm Burning River Sportscast. This podcast is on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Burning River Sportscast, and on X at Burning River Pod. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. I'm talking Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Podcast, Castro. Good Pods. We're the number one football podcast on all the good pods. And so many more. Do you know what that takes us to, Kenny?
Facts for days.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
What do you got for us? Come on, buddy.
I want to hear some more whale facts.
Oh, yeah. Do you have any whale facts?
Damn it. You guys love whale facts.
Come on.
Now I just feel like they're going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, they probably are. Let's hear them.
Facts for days. Where's my facts for days? I'll tell you what my facts for days are. You guys aren't going to see this one coming.
Number one.
Number one. There's a theme here.
There's usually a theme.
The theme is things that don't exist anymore.
Oh, boy. What's number one?
The number one, once the largest international airline in the U.S., Pan Am, shuttered after 60 years commanding the skies. 3 major turning points led to Pan Am's demise. The company invested $500 million on 747s right before an oil embargo raised the price of oil 400%.
Wow.
It purchased national airlines in order to fly domestically, resulting in a loss of $18.9 million. And in December of 1989, it was the target of a terrorist attack that killed over 260 people. Bad marketing. Over 2 years later, in 1991, the company filed for bankruptcy. So it was once literally the largest airline in the U.S. and one of the largest in the world. Vanishes overnight.
Gone.
It's a bad job out of them.
Number 2. At its peak, Blockbuster had nearly 10,000 stores worldwide with a revenue of almost $6 billion per year.
Damn.
However, the company was approached in the 1990s by a small startup, you might have heard of them, called Netflix, offering DVDs by mail. Blockbuster laughed them out of the room to partner for a mere $50 million at the time. As Netflix soared, Blockbuster would file bankruptcy in 2010 and close its remaining video rental stores in 2013. Today, the market cap of Netflix is over $300 billion.
That's big. Streaming killed the video star.
They literally could have owned Netflix for $50 million.
Feels bad.
Passed it up. All to go bankrupt. What an idiot!
What an idiot!
Idiot!
Good. More for you and me.
More for you and me.
Yeah. More for us.
More for us. Number 3 is my favorite one. Chi-Chi's.
Ooh.
Founded by restaurateur Marno McDermott. His wife's nickname was Chi-Chi. And former Green Bay Packers player Max McGee in 1976. At its peak, the chain had nearly 250 stores.
That's big.
Though its parent company had battled bankruptcy for over a decade, in November 2003, Chi-Chi's was hit with the largest hepatitis A outbreak in American history.
No.
With at least 4 deaths and 660 other victims of illness.
Don't eat at Chi-Chi's.
In the Pittsburgh area, including high school students who caught the disease from the original victims.
Wait. This whole thing occurred just in Pittsburgh?
That's where the store was that had yes. So I was about to get there.
Pittsburgh's so dirty.
The hepatitis was traced back to green onions at the Chi-Chi's at Beaver Valley Mall near Monica, Pennsylvania. By September of 2004, Chi-Chi's was forced to shutter all of its remaining stores. The chain continued to thrive, however, in Europe on a smaller scale until it closed its final franchise store in October of 2022. Survived the pandemic, amazingly. Today, just one lonely Chi-Chi is still in existence in Vienna, Austria.
Wow.
It is the only remnant left of the much larger chain.
Wow.
So you can still go to Chi-Chi's. You just got to fly. Don't fly Pan Am. You can't.
And don't rent your movie for the trip from Blockbuster.
You can watch Netflix on the way.
Yeah.
That, my friends, is Facts for Days.
Damn.
Nice.
Bone, you ever eat at Chi-Chi's?
Yes.
God, Chi-Chi's was my favorite.
I remember going to Chi-Chi's with Mr. Thunder here and his sister.
Mr. Thunder. I love it. What do you call him?
And that place was packed all the time. I mean, it was so good. To this day, it had my favorite Mexican dish of all time, the chicken enchilada suprema, which was essentially white chicken enchiladas. They had like the sour cream sauce. Nobody else makes that.
You're about to get me gassed up all over here.
Here's also, oh man, my battery just went out, so I'm going to keep talking, but my uncle, I had an uncle actually he was like general manager of a Chi-Chi's.
Oh, that's right.
And we used to have like Mexican Christmas. Like he would get a bunch of food from Chi-Chi's and we'd make all this whatever Mexican food.
You guys are lucky.
It was good. It was like a childhood memory.
You lucky sons of bitches.
Lucky sons of bitches.
And then it got shut down because of Pittsburgh.
Fucking Pittsburgh.
What the fuck is going on?
Man, speaking of food, Bone.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I gotta go. So bon appetit, fellas.
Don't just be a part of the problem. Be the whole damn problem.
And only you can prevent river fires.
Burning River Sportscast.
Burning River. The Burning River Sportscast.
It's burning in the river.
It's not burning anymur.
Burning River.
We're still burning. We didn't start the fire. We put it out.
Still burning.
It's burning.
Burning rivers.
Burning rivers.
Burning rivers.
Wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream at the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? That was nice. Came out better than I thought.
That did sound really good.
Good night, Cleveland.
Good night, Cleveland.
Good night, Akron.
Good night, Cleveland.
Quiet on set.
I now have 2 loves in my life. Big city living and a voodoo woman named Phyllis.
I didn't think we'd be getting into Brad Pitt's house. I can't even
I didn't think we'd be getting into Brad Pitt's ass.
Yeah, didn't think we'd get in there.
We talk a lot of analingus on this show.
So put your right foot in and take your right foot out. Then put your right foot in and shut the hell up because it's not time for the hokey pokey. It's time for the Burning River Sportscast.
Motorboat? You play the motorboat? You motorboat son of a bitch. You old sailor, you.
You know what I was thinking during that interview?
What were you thinking? Nothing, because you don't have thoughts because you're a brainless idiot?
Wow.
My name is Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
By the way, I want my foreskin back.
Women's Guide to Anal Sex, and it was the second edition. Who makes the second edition?
The weather outside is weather.
The other one, the finger eating food fingers.
Oh my God! My house is full of shit! He's shit everywhere!
Yes.
Ejaculate all over my body and my genitals.
Yes.
Oh no! We suck again!
You don't need fundamentals when you got heart.
and Jesus.
And Jesus.
That's right.
Touchdown. Anyways.
Number 1.
What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
It's going down. I'm yelling timber.
Goddamn jets.
Should we start a meat podcast of like
The meat pod.
slow roasted?
The leads are weak. The leads are weak. Fucking leads are weak. You're weak.
That we should send a team of oil core drillers a la Armageddon to Mars to have them access the newly discovered reservoirs of water trapped 7 to 12 miles under the surface that, when released, will cover the entirety of everything on the planet less than a mile high.
All I do is win no matter what.
Erroneous on both counts. Oh, Lord.
I mean, last year when I won and went home, my wife's pants hit the ground.
Wow.
But damn!
Well, I'm sorry, I hijacked your segment for a second to do some good podcasting.
You know why, mister? Because you drove a Hyundai to get here tonight. I drove an $80,000 BMW. That's my name.
I think we've officially lost all of our more conservative viewers. So I don't think they want to listen any longer.
This is it's Mother Nature.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Where's Logo Girl when you need her?
I desperately want to make love to
This cheese
We
girl.
need Cheese Girl now.
Down goes Anderson! Down goes Anderson!
Who's canceled now? Who's canceled now?
Probably me.
You making fun of fat people?
I'm not. Just you.
We're a whole race, basically.
No way. You just finger bang their salad. What?
You first get shocked, and then you get the shocker.
Hey, you like to see homos naked? That's cool, man. Whatever. No.
Most people, they're driving along and they're in between meals. They're like, I'm a little hungry. I'm going to have a granola bar. And he's like, I need a cheeseburger.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Tapping Media.
Browns fans, come party with Cleveland Browns legends Josh Cribbs, Kevin Mack, and Joe Hayden. True Fan Travel, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns, is hosting premium trip packages for Browns fans to Las Vegas, New Orleans, Denver, and DC. Everything is taken care of. Flights, hotels, tailgate, game tickets, transportation, food, drinks, everything that's important to Browns fans. Visit truefantravel.com today and reserve your ultimate Browns travel package. That's truefantravel.com.
Today's episode was brought to you by Towpath Gin. Towpath Gin, a true craft American gin made in its own style. A blend of 9 botanicals brings a moderate amount of juniper with a citrus backbone. Layers of 7 other botanicals shine through for this incredibly well-balanced and high-quality small batch. Available locally in Northeast Ohio and online in 46 states. Towpath Gin.